Yeah, we can't be talking about that again. Can't be talking about that again. But to continue our point here, since we
Are
have
you talking about Hitler's suitcase?
no, was
I'm
that
just
did he
trying to
carry
change the.
his? No,
No, I'm just trying
let's
to change the names. You know what I
change
mean?
the verbiage.
Yeah, just change. Yeah,
We're not talking about Adolf Hitler's suitcase or
I
the
see.
modern version of it being so and so's such and such that we're not
Yeah,
allowed
so
to
and so,
talk
such
about.
and such.
Yeah, you're not allowed to
Mm-hmm.
say any of those words, otherwise you'll get lest you get flagged. And I had the brilliant idea, which is probably well, I mean, we don't need any additional help to get throttled or have the algorithm leave us in the dust. But I did tag for one of the tags. I did Hunter, and another one I did Biden, and another one I did Hunter Biden, and another one I did Lap, and another one I did Top, because those words also work in as solo tags, right? And then
That's true.
laptop, and then I also culminated with like the grand tag Hunter Biden's laptop, right? And that's the one that
That's the one that
they're
got
like,
us.
oh, they're looking at the algorithm and they're like, or I'm sorry, they're looking at the tags and they're like, oh, this one triggered Hunter, it triggered
Right.
Biden, it triggered lap, it triggered top, it also triggered Hunter Biden and laptop. Now the one I'm
Yeah.
really worried about is this last one that says Hunter Biden's laptop. I feel like at that point we're no longer ambiguous enough that we have to pull the plug on this one.
Yeah, I feel like it puts it all together. There's just no questions anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah. Eventually, you have to, you know what? And see, this is what I get because I was goofing off before the show, and I didn't have time to sit here and do my normal. You know how normally, like, I'll sit here and I'll mess with the video settings so that I can get you on screen before the people show up. Fortunately, nobody has shown up, so like we're still good. If you
Oh my
wanna,
goodness.
Oh, and here I see you typed Durst, whoever you are, with the
Yeah.
dash, and that's it.
I love how you're like, nobody's here. And by the way, somebody.
Yeah, I immediately am called a liar by myself of all people. If anyone's gonna call me a liar, doggone it, it's gonna be me. You know what song I had
But wait.
stuck in my head?
Is that true?
What?
Are you a liar?
I don't know. You'll
Because
never
if you-
know.
see,
You'll never know
That's
because
right.
if I'm
It's a snake eating itself. If
what
a
I
liar
like
calls you a
is
liar, are they
there's
lying?
like that saying that goes, if you can be good at anything, be good at lying. Because if you're good at lying, you're good at everything, right? So
Right.
that's the goal, right? But no, you somebody in here says Durst, and also Don Trout, who's first in the chat. This is the first time for everything. Welcome, Don. But this week I was at, of all places, they're doing state testing at the school. I got called in on Monday at like 11:30 to come sub for somebody who had to leave early. And it was at my son's school, which I had been trying to get my foot in the door this whole time so that I could sub there at this elementary school where my boys go to school. And
So you
now
gave
they
someone COVID.
well, no, not this time. But
You just put a positive PCR test underneath their door.
Yeah,
Oh
just
no!
under there.
No,
it's not.
I don't
It's
even,
not,
I
now we're
blacked.
not going
Dude,
to-
could you imagine they wake up? I blacked out thinking about children and found that I took a PCR test in the middle of the night that was positive.
Ugh, no, I would never take a PCR test, Jerry. You know that. You know. me
No,
better
I'm
than
talking
that.
about the teacher. The teacher finds the PCR test by the
Oh, I
bed,
thought you were accusing
you
me
know?
of doing all these things. I was like, that doesn't make sense because why would they hire me then if like I have a positive PCR test? That seems like counterproductive. But
Yeah, that's a little- yeah.
but I wasn't going to question it because we've talked about weirder things. I mean, like leading into
That's
this
true.
chat. But no, I was at school and they're doing state testing, and I'm not authorized to proctor a test. Now, let me explain this to you. I
Are
am
you
not
authorized to gamble a test?
I am not authorized to sit on my ass while kids take a test, right? Like I'm not authorized to do that for whatever reason. So whatever. who cares?
Incredible.
So they had the gym teacher. It gets funnier, right? They have the gym teacher come
What?
and proctor the test because I'm not
Come on.
authorized to sit on my ass, right? So my job for the first like half a day of school was
Yeah.
to go to the hallway and make sure kids weren't goofing off in the hallway. And I was like, I am
Okay.
so I'm getting paid like $12. This is after tax, right? I'm getting paid $12.
Mm-hmm.
You know me, I'm always looking at like the long game, right? I'm looking
Sure.
at the far out. So I get paid about $12 an hour when I sub, and which is pretty good for having like no skills that I have. But you can go and become a teacher as long as you're educated enough and have little to no skill. I've come to find out. Now they
Wow.
had me sitting there, so I was sitting there as as a hall monitor for $12 an hour after tax. And so anytime the principal came up to me and she's like, "Oh, you're on hall duty?" I said, "I am the highest paid hall monitor in this school right now." And I'm
That's incredible.
Totally okay with that. And like all the other teachers come by, they're like, "Oh, they got you on hall duty." I'm like, listen, I have pulled some bullshit details in my life, right? I have pulled some details that I was paid far less for and were way worse. So if you tell me that I have to go sit in a hallway and make sure a bunch of elementary aged kids go to the bathroom and then leave and go back to their class, and that's my entire day, like right outside of the teacher's lounge where they have free sodas, free waters, free ices. They had an icy machine for Teachers Appreciation Week. You're telling me, and I'm right next to the teachers or the faculty bathroom, so I don't even have to walk very far to go.
I have to stop you real quick.
Yeah, please.
You just said, okay, wait. So, on Teacher Appreciation Week, they told you, Tom, that you couldn't teach.
Yes.
And rewarded you with free ices to stay at a hallway where your entire day was a muted version of Dale Gribble just going, hey,
yes.
Hey, right? Something
that is
like
exactly
that. Or
what went
Cartman
down.
impressions, I guess.
You know what I did? I didn't do anything. I sat on my phone and I played on my phone. And then as soon as I heard the shuffling feet of a kid, like I would look down the hallway, because I positioned myself at this corner, like this crossroads of the school, where I could see where the people coming from the administrative office couldn't see me until I turned and looked around the corner. And then also the kids down this hallway couldn't see me until I turned and looked around the wall right there. And then there was a set of stairs straight ahead and to the left, which they couldn't see me until I kind of leaned forward and around. So nobody could see me and what I was doing. And I just sat there and played on my phone for quite a while. And I was using the school's Wi-Fi, as it were, because I don't get very good service there. I don't know why, but I was.
Well,
using
you should
the
though.
school's Wi-Fi.
You're there.
You would think so, right?
You know.
But I got paid what ended up being probably about $30 by the time it was all said and done, to sit in the hallway and make sure kids just went back to class when they were done going to the bathroom, and make sure they weren't goofing out. And I had to get up, or I had to intervene, because I would get up every once in a while and stretch my legs and walk around a little bit. But I had to intervene in, grab-assery, like twice, maybe. Like I heard somebody was in the bathroom and they kept turning on the hand dryer, and then it would turn off, and then they turn it back on, turn it off, turn it on, off, on, off. And this went on probably way more times than I should have let it go, but probably like 10 times before I finally went in.
You were in the middle of tweeting or something?
Yeah, I had to prioritize, of course. So then I walked into the bathroom and I said, "All right, that's enough." And they were like, "Oh, you got me. All right." And then they walked back to their class, and that was it. And then I think the other time I had to intervene was like the PTA lady was trying to move something out of the teacher's lounge, and I helped her move it out and put it under.
And you were like, "Hey. You're like, hey. That's my soda. Can you please?"
I said, make sure. I said I had to make sure that she didn't leave any snacks and shit on it or whatever. But once that was all cleared and I got the go ahead, I went in and took it from her. I said, "Please, I'm being paid almost $30 to sit here. Allow me to at least move this so I can feel good about that $30, which is taxpayer money, right? All of my income is taxpayer money, right? My disability money, my subbing money, it's all taxpayer money. So any money that I get comes from you guys, and I just want to say thank you, right? Because without you, where would I? You guys can all come to me and be like, "I pay your salary, motherfucker," and I'd be like, "You do," as a matter of fact. That's true. In fact,
did you see the ices I had
earn,
today? Thank
right?
you so much.
Yeah, and I'm always walking around in my fur coat and my money sign necklace and my my big ass Kanye West shades, right? Because my top hat that's fuzzy,
your gold
right?
grill, of course.
But okay, so that's where I was going with it. By the way, my Fred Durst fuzzy hat, right? Remember he had the top hat.
That's right, because somebody wrote Durst in the chat.
Yeah, and that's what reminded me of this whole situation. I just gave you like a really long backstory to that, but and the two people who have joined since then, I'm not going to repeat it. Anyways, I was sitting there, and of all the things to pop into my head, right? Sometimes you have something pop into your head, you're like, most of the time you're like, okay, I can see why that would pop into my head. I get it. Yeah. There's something that happened that kind of brought me to that point. You can trace it back. But I had the song "Stuck" by Limp Bizkit from the $3 Bill Y'all album pop into my head. And you know how long it's been since I've listened to either that song or that album?
Dude, I'm sorry.
At
I don't mean to be this guy. I really don't.
Please, go ahead.
But I have what may be considered by some to be a one-uppery of that story. Now, I have stuff come into my head to the point where it's actually distracting and I think considered intrusive thoughts. And for 4 hours straight, I had Butterfly
by Crazy
Town come into my head for 4 hours. And then I played the song for my in-laws because they didn't know what I was talking about.
For Dawn? You played it for Dawn?
Yeah, and so, well, I had to tell them what was torturing me, you know, like I couldn't get it out of my head. And I've never seen this man at all panic, you know, like he's always cool, calm, collected, right? I put that song on and his wife, like, wasn't turning it off fast enough, and he was just like, hit the button. Just hit the button. I was like, now you know what I've been dealing with for 4 fucking hours. If I'm a little dour, maybe it's because you're my butterfly, sugar, baby. Shoom, 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 shoom. You know, just over. And I was not getting paid during that some of that time. So that's another thing.
Well, then I have you beat. Because I got
you do, yeah. The song I may have beat, depending on the person's opinion, but you definitely have me beat in paid and by other people's money in the state
of your guys' money, Jerry. You
sure,
paid me.
Are you federal though?
No.
Well, Social Security's federal, right? I mean,
I don't get Social Security. I'm not that broken, right?
Oh, I see. Right. So, yes, you get your Veti Bennies, right? So is that? Yes. I mean, that's technically federal, though, right?
That is. I mean, yeah, that much is my disabled vet monies.
Right.
Is federal. Yeah. We're actually we're doing that thing. Remember we talked about this. We talked about this at one point. How I was thinking about doing or refinancing my home, and you said it was a great idea because of whatever. And I didn't do it. I didn't pull the trigger, and I'll tell you why. It had nothing to do with your advice because I knew that was good advice. But by the end of it, we were like, well, do we really? It wasn't enough to where we could justify it, you know. And we want to kind of save it for a rainy day or whatever. And so we did. We ended up saving it for a rainy day because we were like, what happens if we do need to replace the roof, you know, in next year's or whatever?
Sure, yeah.
We want to have that little extra nest egg sitting around, or we want to have that ability, or build the bat cave, right? So fortunately, as it were,
God, do I want to get to that?
Yeah, and we can today. We absolutely can, because this makes me a major league bat hole is what this story will make me. So it still sort of applies, but. So we were talking about getting the privacy fence, and after all this nonsense that we're going to talk about later today, we're talking about the privacy fence. Privacy fence is like $10,500 to build because it's a 400-foot perimeter around my backyard. Yeah. Privacy fence right now with the artificial inflation caused by Joe Biden's terrible decision making, which is being and Pete Buttigieg. And taking like the whole last half of a fiscal year off to breastfeed.
He had a baby.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It is deserved, well deserved. He had to breastfeed his baby.
Right.
And so it ends up being $10,500 to make it sound like more, as if like 10,500 isn't plenty.
Can I tell you something? I'm glad you don't live in the East Coast.
How much does a 400-foot perimeter fence cost over there?
I mean, I can't say by square footage, but I can say that I heard if I remember the numbers correctly, on a modest yard, and I'm not even if it was sure the full perimeter, they got a quote back of 20 G's.
Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah. See, so now I don't really have. Well, let me finish saying that I'm refinancing my house to pay for this fence. So you understand like the difference between over there, you guys are like, oh, $20,000, you know, that's, you know, a nice evening out, right? Right?
Okay.
Over here though, we're like $20,000 we have to, or I'm sorry, $10,000 we have to refinance our homes. But sure. So with the rates the way that they are, and my wife actually has an 740 something credit score, and then mine was
Nice.
780 something or another. So she said, as long as
Great.
it's over 740, you guys are going to get the highest or the best rate, the highest rate. That'd be terrible. 18.5 APR. So she said you'll get the best rate or whatever. So
That'd be
I said,
so
okay,
incredible if they convinced you of that. By the way,
well, that you know what they do? They do that at Army installations. They wait for the new privates to get there, and then they're like, hey, we can, no credit, no problem, right? And then they say, we'll just put you down at a 20% APR. And then they're like, oh, fuck yeah, my Mustang, my
good.
2000 Mustang, like flat 2000 3 zeros, bald tires,
oh my gosh.
shitty transmission. But anyways, so we decided to refinance now to pay for this fence. In addition to the fence, we have to do some slab jacking in the front with the driveway, because on that Indian burial mound, all the fucking sand and dirt slides down underneath. So all of our stuff has started kind of caving in a little bit, like the driveway, the sidewalk, and all that bullshit.
Tom, I know you work for the state, but did you feel the need to tell everybody that you're doing some slab jacking?
Yeah, I do. I think it's important I think it's important that we confess when we slab jack off. But anyways,
did you get paid by my taxes for that too?
No, I'm not being paid to slab jack off or jack around.
Nice.
That, and then there was something else that we wanted to do. Oh, and then the remodeling the master bathroom. That's for us, right? Like that's the one thing. And then also I wanted to make sure that I had enough money left over.
You want to put a toilet in there this time?
Yeah. Well, it's the hole in the floor serves its purpose. All right. And the funnel. There's a funnel in it. Okay.
That's your
so
compost,
it's not just falling down. There's a funnel, right? It's one of those it's one of those coin things where you put like your penny in and it spins around in the
awesome.
funnel all the way down, and then it drops, and then if it lands on something you get a free
ice
cream or whatever.
Okay, look, if you were serious, I'd actually tell you not to stop right now. You know what I mean?
No. Well,
I'd be like, I'm sorry, Tom. I know it might be in the works, but you have to keep that toilet.
I'm going to spoil it. Well, we're going to upgrade. It's going to be a bigger one. It's going to be one where you can, you have to climb up onto it, and then you can watch it as it happens. Because right now it's down below the floor, right? So, you can't even see it. The people down in the kitchen can see it, but not you can't watch it. And who wants to?
What a vista!
Right?
Is that in your? If you're gonna put your house up for sale, a beautiful vista of a person's asshole while they're flushing.
You can sit there and eat your grilled cheese and look up at your friend's exposed and flexing butthole, right? As he's pooping.
Yes.
That's definitely something I'm going to put on the website. In fact, that will be one of the pictures that when you take a 3D tour, you can look up into 3D it. Tour. You can look up. We'll wait until one of us is on the toilet and do it.
Could you imagine, by the way, like you're just let's say you did it, but not so obviously, right? Like, they're doing like one of those wide shots on your kitchen and living room, like all the shots that they make to make every room look bigger, and the perfect lighting and all this. And then like only the people really paying attention, like with the OCD, they go,
that's a butthole.
Is that? And of course they're like on Zoom with their realtor. Kathy? Hey Kathy, can you listen? Call me crazy. And I'm sorry, I know we just met. But, literally, wait a minute, right?
So it's like a live feed of me on the... Okay, all right. I can get down with that. This is like, are we reinventing the realtor market right now? Are we making it so? Are we coming up with new ideas?
Dude, I don't know if you know this. Thanks to Koof, right? People were too afraid to take actual tours of houses, so. The alternatives were wear a hazmat suit, wear booties, don't touch anything, that kind of shit. Or people can literally take a their realtor gets on a Zoom call and the realtor already has the hazmat suit on because they're trying to get the money, and so then they're going through with their, video camera or iPhone or whatever it might be, and so my thing is like almost in a ghost hunter situation. Here's this realtor. And all you hear is, that when you're trying to breathe through a hazmat. Right, and so
All right, I don't know if you can see, but there is actually a human anus up
See,
above. I'm
so if
Jerry,
you'll
and I
notice,
like penises, right?
so if you'll notice this quaint breakfast nook, you can actually fit your family here while not having to take yourself over to the formal dining room for your Sunday breakfast. I'm sorry, what's that? I'm sorry, what's that?
right, because they can't.
Well, yeah, you can hardly ever hear, and it's probably choppy too.
Well, how do you have the phone next to a hazmat suit where it's like this?
You know, I would think that she would have had the foresight to put on earbuds,
Oh,
but I don't know.
Bluetooth? Oh, maybe. Yeah. Oh, so from inside it's just bad.
It would just sound regular,
Right.
So this
to her,
joke
it's
doesn't
fine,
even
but
work.
Yeah, so anyway.
It's one of those things where like it's like those old timey phones where you've got like the one here and then the one here.
Yeah.
But
She's
she's
got the
doing
cord.
it with a cell phone for some. Well, I don't know. Maybe she has. Maybe that's like part of the charm of this house. It's like she's calling from the home, and she's like, "Hey, I don't know if you
that's
can
right.
hear," and she's like ringing it up. I don't remember how you ring up.
Okay.
You call the connector, right? Do those people still?
Yeah,
exist?
I think
don't
you
know.
say.
I don't know.
That's a great
You'd have to
question.
call the operator.
Dude, you want to talk? I mean, I don't even. This one time I had to do something for school, which was like to ask your elders about things that like have changed significantly from the time they were children to like, oh, when I was your age, basically the term paper when I was your age. And I remember I think it was my parents bringing up that when they were a kid, they would pick up the phone, and sometimes their neighbor would be on, like you could hear the neighbor. Because it was all one line. So like, from start to finish, your whole street is on one phone line. So you pick up the phone and Mrs. Johnson is, talking sexy over baked goods with, some guy.
Never
you're
her
like-
husband, who's at war right now with the Germans, right? He's over there
Obviously.
fighting on, on the beaches of Normandy, and she's over there
Right.
slab jacking off with.
Well,
Got on the road.
he's actually a refrigerator tester for the nukes. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I
That's
did not.
where the
No.
the opening scene in Indiana Jones 4 came from.
You know what?
He
I
was-
have a confession to make, Jerry. I never
Oh.
watched Indiana Jones in the Crystal Skull. I never did. I saw
Wow.
Shia. You know what? And
You said Shia LaBeouf and you said Shia LaBeouf don't.
yeah, I'm saying Shia
I can't.
won't.
That was
Shia
terrible.
won't.
Shia LaBeouf.
Not
yeah.
don't. More like Shia LaBeouf, right?
There it is.
Remember when he like went through his whole thing, and like the best part of him going through his mental breakdown was that just do it, right? Remember when he did that? That's the
Those are
best thing
great,
to come out of
yeah.
it because it's so absurd. And then and not even that, like who cares about that video? It was not motivating at all. It was the memes that came from that really motivated me because there's like some videos where somebody made that into a motivational video, and it really is.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I would I would
They put
absolutely
great music
turn that on as
behind
part of
it.
my- you know what I'm gonna do, Jerry? I'm gonna add that to my ketamine mix.
Oh, dude,
I have a
is that
confession
too
to make,
exciting
too,
now?
about. Well, I don't know. Here's the thing with my.
Oh my
should I
goodness.
read my ketamine mixtape off to you guys? It's the
Sure,
one
I
I listen
mean-
to every time. I always listen.
The
to
thing
it.
is, though, Tom, and I don't want to blow up your spot,
No, please.
but if it is literally just 10 tracks off your favorite ICP album, I don't think.
Well, moving
There's a
on.
reason for
it's,
that.
Well, no, it was bizarre, right? It was bizarre.
Oh, I
It was-
see.
It was a mix between the two of my two.
How
favorites
bizarre?
well, both of them, bizarre and then bizarre, right? Remember, because ICP did two albums at the same time, like they came out together as one was bizarre with two Z's and one A, the other one was
Oh.
one Z with two A's. So it was bizarre,
I actually-
bizarre. Yeah, one of them had homies, and then the other
Wow.
one had like Tilt-A-Whirl on it. I don't know.
I have to admit, I don't even know. Like
I'm
literally.
just telling you a fact about ICP that maybe you didn't know. I'm like that Danger
Oh, there's no
Dunley
maybe.
guy,
I'm
right?
wow.
I
Yeah.
really used to like ICP. I still do. If somebody turned on ICP, I'd be like, oh, I like this song, and not ironically, right? Because whatever. Anyways, the songs that I listen to, I'll tell you to where, like, I'll give you a peek into my journey here, right? The
Okay.
first song
Yeah.
that plays is the Wolf Tones, The Men Behind the Wire. Very slow, kind of like cool little revolution song, right? And then there's Run the Jewels, Blockbuster Night, Part 1.
For being a bunch of socialist jackoffs, Run to the Jules has some great songs.
Yeah, they're so good. And then there's Smash Mouth, All Star, but It's the Country Roads version, right? So what they did
There's
was
a country road. Really?
they auto-tuned his voice to where it sounds like he's singing Country Roads, but it's the all-star lyrics. So it's really good. Look it up. It's on YouTube.
Wow.
I have I've admitted this before on the show. There's going to be like 2 people in the chat who know this about me. If somebody introduces me or sends me a link to an all-star song, like a version of All-Star, I will listen to it. And there's
It's
like
automatic.
a 50-50 chance that I'll like it because that's like my thing. I will. It's like when Cartman, when you'd start singing Sticks.
Oh, Come Sail Away.
Yeah, he has to finish it. That's like me with All Star. If you ever need to slow me down, you just send me a YouTube link of some kind of version of All Star. Some of my favorites are the ones where it's like each different style of music, like the lyrics, the guitar, the percussion, the bass, every different part of that song is played at different speeds, but like very small changes. So like by at the beginning it sounds normal, and then it starts to sound a little bit weirder, but then by the end of it it's just absolute chaos. That's one of my favorites. Wow. And then the Country Roads version is my all-time favorite, which is why it made the ketamine list. And yeah, that there
actually sounds really interesting.
It's so good. And then I have that's right around the time that the ketamine starts to kick in, like full, like right between Run the Jewels and Smash Mouth is kind of like where it's starting to kick in, where I can really feel it working its magic. And then there's a song called I don't know what it's actually called, and it's been removed from YouTube since it was put on there. It's called, I call it Techno Hitler. It's actually a techno song with Hitler's greatest speeches played behind it. And
what?
it's I don't know, again, I'm telling you, but at this point I'm already like really in the flow of ketamine, right? I'm feeling it. I'm feeling good. I'm hearing Hitler screaming in my ears. I'm hearing techno music. It's just like crazy.
Oh, can I ask you this, like in all seriousness, is the Hitler, there's one speech in particular I'm like imagining, right? And I don't know like the German words, I know the English, right?
Sure.
So he's going like, what the hell was it? Somebody once taught me.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what I'm listening to.
Oh, wow.
The world.
The world is going to orbit.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what I'm listening to.
I am not the top stool in the shed.
In the shed. Right. Yeah, that's the song. That's the one. It plays, shortly thereafter. So it's got to like work out of that, that Smash Mouth thing. Back
the
into
Britons and the Polish will be looking kind of dumb with their fingers
with
and
their fingers. Yeah. And then it goes into the Hope Country
And by
Choir.
the way, I did not miss your hand signals. I just thought if I addressed them too directly,
Like-
we would lose the show.
With the finger and the thumb. He does that. And then it goes into Hope Country Choir, Keep Your Rifle by Your Side from Far Cry 5, right? I think
Lil
Far
Nas
Cry
X,
5.
I remember.
No, that's not the one. I don't have any of that. And then I have Gary Jules, Mad World. At this point, I am like fully into the ketamine. I am like really in it. I'm feeling it. I don't really feel much of anything at all at this point. Damn, It Feels Good to Be a Gangster by Ghetto Boys.
Nice.
Great
That's
song.
great.
And at this point, I'm feeling really good. I'm kind of like sinking into my abyss, the void of ketamine infusion. And then, because at that point, it's got to be like kind of fun and, feel good music. And that's the first one. Landslide by Fleetwood Mac.
Okay.
Landslide by Dixie Chick. No, I'm just kidding. That one's not on there.
Landslide by Smashing
Pumpkins. It's all my whole playlist is just covers of Landslide.
Could you imagine meshing them up together?
I can't. Well, yeah, I can. I mean, they all kind of sound a little bit the same. Like if they all
It's
sang
not
together,
that
I think
drastically
it'd be pretty funny.
deviating.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's a song that
Slightly
you can't.
speed one up.
You can't.
No.
And then by the end of it, it's all chaos. You've got Smashing Pumpkins. Tonight. And then I got Boys in the Hood, Dynamite Hack. Under Pressure by David Bowie. And then there was a song from America's Got Talent. Some Swedish guy sang Imagine by John Lennon. And it was a really good...
I thought you meant John Johnson.
No,
sure?
different guy.
Oh.
No, this guy, he's a Swedish guy
Could you
covering
imagine?
a song by a communist, right?
Dude, could you imagine the lost in translation you would have to have? Just, it's like, I'm not trying to...
Do an impression.
just-
Do one.
No, but just imagine you're Swedish, right? And you think like, oh well, I want to go on. I can't do it. But just imagine, right? They're like, oh, I want to go on American Idol, so I think I have to do a big hit from America,
from
from
America.
America, right? And then he chooses.
But the thing about Sweden is they're like 30 years in the past. So
So then not only is it from Britain, but because John Lennon's in an apartment or in his bed in New York, right?
With
and
Yoko,
so they okay,
yeah.
right. So he goes, okay, this American chap, and then he looks it up and somehow finds like a cover or a song. You know how songs, even great ones, there's like multiple songs named. I'm sure there must have been another song named Imagine. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, and so he just finds Imagine by, I don't know, Roxy Davis, right? And it's just
by Crazy Town.
Yeah. Dude, imagine. Okay, all right. Imagine you're a Swedish dude, and you go, all right. What's a great American artist that brings nothing but class and prestige upon the world of music? I remember Michael Jackson. So, who am I going to, right? And then they go to they find the Alien Ant Farm version because they don't know that that's not Michael Jackson. And they come out and they're like, I'm going to do a do or however they talk.
Well, Megabit said just do the Swedish Chef. So
Right. There it is. And that's him doing. Oh wait.
Imagine by John Legend. Oh yeah. Oh no, that's a different guy. That's
Beaker.
Benson. That's Benson and Beaker or whoever. Anyways, and then the last song that plays before I wake up is, and this is where like I am fully into this, where I'm just gone. Now let me explain to you what happens, and I don't know if I've explained this before, but what happens when you do this ketamine infusion, right? Slowly you recess into the void, almost like walking backwards in a train tunnel, right? And like your vision kind of zooms out, and like you can feel yourself moving inward. And I always make the comment that it's kind of like the beginning of Genesis, where it says the Spirit of the Lord was floating over the void, over the waters of the void, right? And it's kind of like that, where you're just like in this sensory deprivation chamber almost. Darkness all around, but you're aware of kind of what you're in, but it's a very echoey cave, and somewhere you can leave if you need to, and the world outside of this is aware of you and where you are, so you're safe, but you're away from it all, and you don't really have a body anymore. You're merely your own spirit. Anyways, at this point in the ketamine infusion on my playlist, I am just completely in my cave, hiding in the darkness and the shadows and the recesses. Nobody's around me. Echoey. I can hear it because it's in my hearing aids. I can play stuff through the Bluetooth in my hearing aids, so it's like deep in my head, and it's very echoey. And then all of a sudden, the 8K remix of Corey Hart's I Wear My Sunglasses at Night comes on. So it goes boom, 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 right? It's like it's pounding from all angles or whatever. And I'm in this cave, this echoey cave, and it's so fucked up. But it's awesome. It's a great experience, and I highly recommend it for everybody. And then like in the middle of that song, I all of a sudden hear the beeping of the machine saying, "Oh, we're out of ketamine," and then the nurse comes in and they flip it off and whatever. But anyways, we talked about this last week. That's how it's been this entire time.
Can you say the last song again?
Corey Hart's I Wear My Sunglasses at Night.
I want to bring it up because I heard you say Corey, and I was so wrapped up in the story that I only heard Corey, and the entire time you were talking, I assumed you were listening to Corey Feldman.
No, that's a different guy.
I mean, I'm aware. I just
Corey Hart, I can't imagine. I mean, he may have been raped. I mean, he was a musician back in the 80s, and I mean, as far as I understand,
I know the difference.
Like the kids
I understand, but
who were coming up in Hollywood in both the music and film industries, they were getting it. Yeah.
we're being hacked in real time or whatever he said. Do you remember that when he tried to play his when he tried to do his documentary video live, the last one where he like got all that money,
and he was trying to like show that he was getting that people were like fucking kids in Hollywood.
Yeah, he's like he said he had a bombshell. Well, he said he had a bombshell, and it turned out it was like some hearsay about Charlie Sheen.
Fucking Corey Hart.
The
other Corey.
The other Corey Hart. Yeah.
No, who was the other Corey? Doggone it! It was Corey Feldman
for sure.
and
Yeah,
Corey.
He's the dead Corey, which I mean.
But what was his name?
Corey Haim.
Haim. Okay. See, that's where I was confused. I knew there were like two heartthrob Corys from the '80s.
Two hearts beat as one.
And then he ended up offing himself because he had too much Charlie Sheen semen in him in 2001, right?
It was either that or too much Corey Feldman. You know what I mean?
Do you think they were like buggering each other because they were like, well, you know, we got fingered a bunch by Charlie Sheen as kids. We might as well
fingered in
a
lineup,
right? Yeah, well, I don't know. Listen, this is all such a weird situation.
Well,
Jerry,
I wanted to say
because Charlie Sheen has AIDS now, so like it's difficult to even make jokes about.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. I can't let you slander the man. I have to step in. First of all, the reference I was making to the Corey Feldman extremely great, beautiful, wonderful, groundbreaking documentary was being attempted to be shown at some shitty theater in Los Angeles to the 10 friends he could bring on buy two get one free tickets, and they were having audio visual trouble because it was supposed to simultaneously go live on their website, right? And so it wasn't working. It just didn't work for like hours. And he got on stage and he was like, whoa, we're getting hacked in real time.
I gotta be honest, Jerry, I didn't watch it. Like, I was aware that it was happening, but I didn't watch it. I should have, you know,
I didn't pay for it. I saw that this is where you said, you know how you said like, oh, the memes are better.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't about Shia LaBeouf's speech, it was the memes.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing is for Corey Feldman for me with that. It wasn't that I watched that. It was within I don't know, 10 minutes of him being like, whoa, we're getting hacked in real time.
I feel so bad for the guy. I mean, he got fake stabbed for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well,
he hired
said, do you have a wound? He's like, well, not anymore. I mean,
he hired the goons that killed Jussie Smollett.
Jussie Smollett, who's innocent, by the way. I don't know if you know that. He's innocent.
I don't know. You know what I really like? I like those Babylon. I like the Babylon Bee. I'll come out on as if it's like a controversial opinion on this show. Like, I like the Babylon Bee. Oh, what? You know, no, I like.
Oh my goodness.
They do.
I can't believe we lost the show again.
My favorite joke that they do. I mean, they stand for all the shit that I stand for. So it's like, you know, I'd love to pick on them or whatever, but they're very like Protestant too. So like even my Christian, Catholic, Eastern Orthodox people, you know, we should get along, but we don't. Right, but like the Babylon Bee is very Protestant in nature, so like their jokes oftentimes, you know, cater to me as a Protestant more so than I think they would probably cater to the Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox folks. But anyways, they my favorite thing that they do is anytime anything happens that anything happens at all, they do a story about how AOC was affected by it and how she is now dead, right? Because remember she said that she was killed at the insurrection or whatever, and she said, oh, they came in and I could have been killed and it was awful and they tried to kill me and blah blah blah, whatever. And then they did a story where they said AOC was found in her office, you know, however many hundreds of yards away from the insurrection, but she was killed and she is now dead. Now anytime anything happens, they say AOC was affected by such and such legislation and is now dead, or AOC got into it with Elon Musk, hopped into her Tesla and is now dead, or you know, like they'll do that every single time
running jokes.
That AOC does it, and they do. And there's a couple of them that the Babylon Bee does, and they do them very well. And I applaud the Babylon Bee. Who are they back on Twitter now? I don't know. I'm back on Twitter, but I don't know actually. I mostly use it to to make fun of like one person, and that's it. And with Fetusberry and I get together and we just make fun of one individual person.
Oh, well, that's, you know what,
it's special,
you know,
to me. So
that
that's
is
why
special,
I'm there.
actually.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you know, both you guys, I'm assuming, I'm sorry, excuse me, Mr. or Mrs. Fetus. I didn't mean to assume your gender, but
a boy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have to admit, I thought I might have been onto something. Just on its own with
his
the whoopsies.
pronouns are just a bunch of violent assaults on your body.
Dude, I thought you were gonna go cute because he says such vile shit sometimes.
No.
I thought you were gonna go cute and you were gonna go all of his pronouns
Are care
our
and bear
fruit.
or whatever. Yeah.
Our
various
fruit.
types of gummy snacks.
Yeah, just, you know, raspberry blasts or, you know,
Gushers. His
kiwi,
pronouns are
strawberry.
gushers, fruit by the foot, and
Yeah, you know,
gummy bears or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, exactly, dude. That's what I was. So I thought, honestly, when I would get likes or retweets from you guys, I'd be like, all right, that's a pretty decent joke, or all right, my whoopsies, or, you know, like, at least if I just get attention from these two people, that makes Twitter worth it to
and
me.
Feets, that's like a
That was
pretty
it, yeah.
low bar, but I do appreciate that. I'll take
just,
that
you know.
compliment. I'll take it.
Well, look, you know, I gotta say, I don't know if it's the atmosphere, right? It's the atmosphere. Like, I remember, to give you an idea, when I was still doing FOJ Live, I was asking a guy who I'd played many different shows with over the years in different bands and stuff. He had been on my show plenty of times. And I asked him to come on to do like it's basically a death metal, like a black death metal murder story, you know, kind of like just a discussion on all these murders or whatever. And he had agreed, but said, yeah, I'll come on in spite of those Trump tweets you've been liking. And I just thought, all right, look, I can appreciate that. I don't know, you don't like him or something, but how can you not objectively just find this to be the funniest fucking thing going on in the mad clown world that we're living in at the time? You know, it wasn't, we talked about this, I think, at the end of last week. It's not even about like, oh, did you vote for him? Or even, it's just a fucking game show host who was last seen with Kevin McAllister and or elbow dropping Vince McMahon is now the president of the United States, tweeting that he's got a bigger dick than the fat Plato leader of North Korea or whatever. How is that not, dude, right? Like, that's, and again, it may not have even been that. Okay, so like, even though his app, from what I understand right now, is lame and has a lot of censorship stuff to it, the fact that whoever his PR person, because I assume it's just not him, but posted his first post on his, what is it, Truth and something?
Truth
I don't know
Social,
what the hell.
Yeah.
Truth Social, yeah. His first post was, I'm back, baby, hashtag Kafefe. I was like, all right, you know, I missed that a little bit. I remember, like, to some degree, I liked being distracted about the end of the world by the fact that we had a game show host typing Kafefe from the shitter at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it would bring the earth to a grinding halt. Like, that's incredible, right? That is actually incredible, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
And so the fact that at the time, I could be tweeting anything, and if I had to keep my Twitter private because,
oh, I remember,
you know, employers.
Sure.
And then I was like, well, okay, if it's private, then, and I have friends like this who are like, yeah, I'll do your show in spite of the fact that you do this naughty thing or whatever, then it starts to narrow down. All right, well, who's going to appreciate this? And then who's going to see this? And then who's going to like this? And who even may retweet? You know what I'm saying? Now it starts getting down to here, and that's where you and Fetusberry came in.
Yeah.
You know?
We have very low, like we were the people who, well, here's the thing about Fetusberry. He was so private about his personal identity, like who he actually is. He has told me his full name 3 different times. And I have forgotten every single time, which, like, I think he picks who he tells his true identity, and shows his face to. Like, I think he's very careful about that. And the fact that I have, like, traumatic brain injury, and I can't remember people's
You're
names.
like the perfect person.
Yeah, I'm like the guy from Memento. When I try to explain my condition to people, I'm like the guy from Memento for like useful information, right? Like
Yeah,
I can
guys,
remember.
Dude,
Like,
I
I
wanna
can't
just-
remember anybody's name ever. Like the only people I remember their name, I have to see them calling on my phone, and that's why when you call, I'm always like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Jerry?" Or I'll be like,
Right.
"Oh, hey, what's up, Jerry?"
Right.
You know, that's how.
Yeah, I
how
need to
go.
tell the audience because we here at You Had Me at Bigfoot are about truth and honesty, right?
Always.
I mean, and we have to follow that party line even with the show, even if it's a little bit embarrassing, I think, right? Now, I honestly, for example, can't remember how many shows we've done together now.
We started
I
at the 100 mark, so whatever
Okay.
episode we're on now is how
Right.
many you've done.
So I can't remember. On the other hand, I think so that's my kind of embarrassing thing. Now, on the other hand, I think people should know Tom has asked me if I would co-host the show 6 times now.
Is that right?
No.
Is that a correct number?
Dude, no. Could you imagine every couple of weeks? Hey, Jerry, listen.
Hey, V just left on the last episode.
V just left. I just talked to him again.
Hey, I'm thinking about doing an episode on this well in Yemen.
Right.
And it fucking
Yeah, listen.
stinks, and there's a bunch of dead animals and shit in it. And I have this really funny joke about trannies and like as well.
And I need to do a
think you'd
whole
be
show
perfect
about
for
it.
Yeah, I think you'd be perfect for it. But
Right.
yeah, well, it's more than 6 times. It'd be like 18, I think, or 19.
Probably.
I don't know. I don't know how many.
No, it's you don't forget every week,
every
rude.
other week, because sometimes we
Yeah.
talk like more often than other times.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
why even when you did the joke, I'm like, is that right? Has it been 6 times?
That's what got me. You said it, and I was like, wait, does he really think that now? Now I feel bad.
No, I'm telling you, man. Like when it comes to, so this week I was at a soccer game. My kids are in soccer, and I was at a soccer game, the practice, and some dude was standing there, and we got to talking about something, and he introduced
the way-
himself.
Oh shit! Yeah, please go ahead. Sorry.
He introduced himself, and he's like, he goes, what was your name? Because we had been talking for like an hour at this point. He's like, what was your name? And I said, oh, Tom. And he said, hi, yeah, Tom, I'm Nathan. And I said, okay, right on. And then 2 minutes passed, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I don't think I got your name. And he said, Nathan. I said, you did tell me that. I do remember that now. Like it's that bad
Yep.
sometimes. Where like I'll just forget entire periods. As soon as I don't know what it is that triggers it, but it will just shut off, and I'll forget everything. So when I say Fetusberry is like one of my best friends. Like he's somebody I talk to daily, and I don't remember his first name. He has told me so much so that he showed
Tom,
me.
It's fetus. I don't.
Right. Well,
what
it's
is
fetus? I should
don't-
be able to read, but I can't because of this mental.
You literally just said it. I
They
don't know.
no, but he sent me this chat log of like somebody else who was fucking with them. Somebody I guess that he knows personally who he's had this vendetta against in real life or whatever. But he sends me this chat log, and the dude's like, "Hey, what's up, so and so?" And then they go back and forth, and it's like an actual name, which I don't recognize when I read it.
Right.
And then I said, "Yeah, what's up with this guy? Who is he? Like, what's the big deal?" You know, and he's like, "Well, that's my real
Right.
name." And I said, "You know what? I knew that, right?" Like,
That's
I
so
know, right?
Dude,
Yeah, of
Tom,
course
could
I
you
know,
imagine?
Fetusberry.
Oh my
Your
god,
name is such
dude,
and such.
seriously, could you imagine? I'm sorry, I'm just imagining this, right? He sends you this thing, and it's important to him, right? Like it's this vendetta, this situation he's been having for years, his arch enemy, right? And he sends you this chat log, and you read it, and you go, "Who the fuck is this piece of shit? Can you believe this F slur or whatever?" Right? And you go through, and you go, "What a pit!" And then he responds back and goes, "That was me. The whole."
I've
just-
forgotten that it was his
Yeah, you
icon and
forgot.
everything.
Yeah, you were just like, "Who?"
And I'll be like, haha,
"Oh,
just kidding. Haha.
oh, come on, dude. Come on, man."
You know
Jokes.
what's horrible about
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Is I was in recruiting, right? So my job was like doing that fake shit where you like are kind.
Oh,
to
you have to
people or
remember their
whatever.
name.
You have to
all
remember their
that shit.
names. You have to remember
Yeah.
stuff about them when they come in. You know, whether they come in 6 months from now or 2 weeks from now. You got to remember stuff. You know, they come back from
Yeah.
basic training. They're like, hey, remember me? You put me in the army, blah, 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 blah. You know, you have
You're
to
like,
remember shit.
absolutely.
Like, oh, hey, how's your mom or whatever? And they're like, well, my mom died 40 years ago. You know, why are you asking me about my mom? Like, you know, you ask like the safe questions or what you think is safe. But then, but anyways, some of these kids, I remember one time I used to write everything down and I would keep their pre-qualification sheet on my desk. So I could lead into like later on, I would look at their name again on the prequel sheet, and then I would look at them, and like a couple sentences later, I would say, "So what do you think about that, John?" Or, you know, I would include their name, like that bullshit where you'd like try to talk to them.
Dude, you are literally a bad movie script.
I am. I'm the worst. And
have you ever heard of that? Like a way to tell if it's a bad movie?
Why? Go ahead.
Okay, so whether it's a bad movie or a bad television show, right? A lot of movies and shows are based on characters that know each other, right? So throughout this whole show, unless I'm trying to be a particular, like put on a particular character, I don't actually refer to you as Tom. I'll just go, oh yeah, dude, so blah blah blah, like because we're friends.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know?
So
and
when
so
you throw the name in there, it's very obviously like juxtaposition stuff.
Right. It's the it's the room. Oh hi Mark, hi Mark, hi Mark. Like. You understand? Like after a while, he shouldn't actually refer to him anymore. There should be other ways, you know? And instead, it's just every time you come into a scene, Darlene, girl, you know,
Right.
It's like, that's your wife. Who the fuck says?
I don't remember the last time I said my wife's name, honestly.
You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. And then suddenly you're watching some show, and they're like, hello, Greg. And it's like, I've been married to you for 25 years. You know,
right.
Like
I'm that guy though, but here's the thing, Jerry, and you know this. Here's the thing, Jerry. Here's the thing. When you're in those roles, and I know you know this, like you have to say their name because people who hear their name, they become warm to you, right? They all of a sudden they like hearing their name, so then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you know, they kind of like fall for you in that way. You know, they feel very emotionally connected to you. So you have to say their name in order to get them back in. And so I would do that. I would look at the prequel sheet and I would be like, okay, his name's John. I'd be like, I'd wait 2 sentences and then I'd say, now what do you let's talk, John. What do you think about such and such? And then that way they hear their name and then we can keep the ball rolling, right? But then there would be sometimes I'd look at the name and I'd be like, okay, go on 2 sentences, and I'd be like, what the fuck was his name again? I'd have to like look down again, or I'd have to wait till they looked away, and I'd real quick look at the paper. But that's how it was. And one time, I didn't. This happened often, and generally, if I knew I didn't remember it, I would just not even enter into a situation where I needed to say the name. But there were times where I would bring the kid to the station commander, like if I had somebody who was getting ready to ship off. Or somebody who was like a fast mover who's like, hey, I'm ready to go today. I do their background check. I do their application. I do everything like right there in one sitting or whatever. And it's like real fast. And I would go to the station commander because I'll be like, hey, man, this guy wants to join. Is there anything we can do for him? Whatever. I'd hand him off to him and let him deal with the shit. But I would, you know, I'd say his packet's done. He's ready to go. Whenever you want him to go, he's ready to go. Let's do this. You know, and he goes, I get up to the station commander, who's a buddy of mine. He's now a sergeant major. Getting ready to retire next year, actually. But I went up to him and I was like, hey, Sergeant Bennett, this, we got, you know, I got a guy who's, you know, he's really excited to join. I want you to go ahead and meet. And like at the time, remember Family Guy? They did that, I forget which one it was, but it was not the Blue Harvest one, but like the following where they were making fun of Empire Strikes Back. And they get to Coruscant and he goes, and my buddy, Sarge over here, you know, and he points at C-3PO. He couldn't remember his name, so he's like, no, we've been on all sorts of space adventures together. Of course, I remember you, C-3PO. It was that exact situation. It was right around the same time. So I said, we got my buddy here, Sarge here. He's getting ready to join the army, and I'll tell you what, I know you want it to have a happy ending. That guy did not join the army.
Oh no!
I lost a contract because I couldn't remember his fucking name.
Dude, could you? I'm sitting here going, because you know, as the person who would need to like get out of a situation, you know, I always try to have like backups in the back of my head. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting here thinking, and this is probably not the right setting, you know, because you're literally at army recruiter and stuff. You're not, I don't know, like at an office or a bank teller or some shit.
But I mean, that's what it looked like. From our recruiting stations were designed to look like offices and bank teller situations. Yeah.
Well, so like I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, like, a great question if you could, like, let's say you're in the middle of a conversation, you can't remember his name. I could just imagine you going, all right, look, let me ask you. This is one of those deep thought questions we kind of just throw at new crudies, right? And you say crudies, it's not a thing. Yeah, new crudies.
Well, they don't know. They don't know that.
No, exactly. You make up some shit. That's for you. You know, comedians have jokes for themselves, you know? So, hey, you know, we just throw out these big thought crudie jokes or whatever. and you go, all right, here's a big thought for you, crudie. If you were to name yourself, what would your name be? Right? And like
and then that becomes his name, right?
Right. And then you say, I'm going to remember that. Or they go, well, because they're dumb maybe. They go, well, my name is John, so I don't want another J name. It's my name. It's not my name.
Jeremy.
My dad.
I would go by Jeremy.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
or something retarded. Like that. And you go, oh, he's retarded and his name is Jeremy. All right, you know. Or he's so retarded I could call him John and they wouldn't even know the difference. Doesn't matter.
Jeff. As long as I hit it with a J, I got a 1 in 26 chance of getting it right.
Dude, holy shit. Can I tell you something? I actually send emails with my name in it. Work, like, signature, you understand? And
I know how emails work, yes.
And no, I mean, because I could send you messages. I'm not going to write, you know, we don't even bother in the you had me at Bigfoot thing anymore to write Tom or Jerry. We don't even bother. But I'll send it with the signature with my first and last name. And they will respond, thank you, Jeff. I would love to do blah, 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 blah. I've had that happen in the past 2 years alone, probably 3 times, which may not sound like that much, but when you know you're literally contacting someone whose business card, whose picture on a website, who's got a signature in the email, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's really hard. I'm not the guy trying to sell you a vibrating chair at the mall kiosk. You know?
No, those guys are all Arabs.
Right. Well, that's true. Yeah. Those are the guys you could call John and they won't even notice.
Well, they just know the value of $1, and they'll do whatever. You could call them fuckface, and they'll all right, fuckface. Where do I sign?
It's 20 degrees out. Why are you wearing sandals, fuckface? Also, can I get a discount on that vibrating chair?
You sure can.
I got to put my kids through college, same as you, pal.
Well, your kids are all going to be doctors, and my kid will not.
Hey, can I say something real fast? I know we're a joking show here, Tom. I understand that. And I also know that I have put a personal embargo on coof talk in the whoopsies and all that. Can I say something serious just for half a second?
Please.
And I know there's no such thing as half a second with me, but can I do it?
Yeah, go for it. Take all the time you need, Jeff.
All right. Well, thank you,
Sarge.
For that, Sarge.
When I was in the fire department, my captain used to call me Sarge, and I don't know if it was because he knew I was in the army at the time, but I don't know if it was because of that or because he just never knew my name. But
that's incredible. That'd be great. It'd be great if they actually sent you checks with the name Sarge. That would be
my check for $4.50 after volunteering at the fire department.
Yeah, it just says Sarge.
I wouldn't even check.
And your first name is your last name.
Sarge.
Yeah. So look, I don't know if anybody else knows this, and we don't have to take a raise of hands here about who's gotten. I'm gonna.
Yeah, the jab.
The jab. Yeah, I was trying to also save our show, Tom.
That's okay. We talked about Hunter Biden's jab on here. Do you think Hunter is jabbed?
Oh my goodness! Yeah, well, with something, but it's probably from his cousin. So.
Oh.
What? Am I not?
He's doing gay sex with his cousin, and he's the catcher.
It's a hip bone,
Oh, Jerry.
I didn't make it happen. Cocaine made it happen. I can't.
Some 14-year-old in the Philippines made it happen.
I know. Some Ding Wong made it. All right.
Dig big.
Any hoodles. Any hoodles. So I don't know if anybody noticed, but I believe it's the CDC and Pfizer, or maybe just Pfizer. But essentially, with the release of the Pfizer documents that continue to come out, by the way, everybody.
Yeah. Oh, they sure do. Boy, do they.
Boy, do they. Yeah. There was an admission that they never tested or did any trials on pregnant women.
Mm-hmm. Which is something that we said for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's been tested, guys. Come on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys
Perfectly
just
safe.
make this vaccine? Like, you guys were actively working on this vaccine 9 months ago. How have you tested this?
Yeah,
thoroughly?
it's perfectly safe, you know.
That's weird.
But so I want to
I'm not a
kind of
biologist. But
I'm not a biologist, but I do I can't. All right.
do it,
Here's the
Jerry.
thing.
This is the safe place. Do it.
Here's
Jeff.
the thing. You have thanks, Sarge. You here's okay. So you and I've had conversations off air and on air, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. Just generally, but I'm also going to mention topics. So
Yeah, we have
So-
often spoken to one another. That is true.
we've just spoken. That's true. Yeah. So we've talked about how doctors treat you, different other circumstances of doctor talk, you know. And I guess I just want to throw out there I think if I remember correctly, there are people in this chat who had a baby recently and stuff, and were able to. By the way, Critter Me Timbers was another one when on Twitter. If I got her attention, I was like, all right, she, Fetus, and Tom liked my shit. That was a great day. But yeah, so
yeah, she hates
just
tyranny, right? Like, you pick
Dude,
on
she-
somebody. Oh man, she hates tyranny. Ugh.
yeah, what a bitch about tyranny.
Oh,
Anyway,
she's so
yeah.
terrible about tyranny. Like, give him a break. Give tyranny a break. Come on.
Just calm down. Jeez. Sex with his cousin. Who hasn't made that mistake? Anyway. Well, but she just wrote meat jab in all caps, and I couldn't concentrate. It's just I don't know. So
Well, that's what she was talking about. Hunter Biden.
No,
giving
no,
the
I
meat
know,
jab
but
to
I took
his nephew.
Dude, I know, but I took it like I only knew it seconds later, but there was that 3-second window where it was apropos of nothing, and it was just meat jab. And I was like, wow,
man shouting.
oh yeah. I was like, wow, this fucking chat is on fire tonight. Anyway,
Yeah, it's blowing up.
so okay, I think there were right people in this chat in this group who've had a kid recently, or they're planning on, or someone's pregnant, something. And even if not, I guess I just want to throw this out there from personal experience. Because I think, as some of you know, my wife and I, well, she was pregnant. I was, of course, male pregnant for
Still.
for 9. Yeah, I'm still pregnant, technically, with enjoyment. But I was, so during this coof time, right? And during the vax time. And people were actively pushing and shaming us. And
Well, you say
I
people,
wanna-
but that's a pretty grandiose term for the sort of entity that
Well,
would say that.
right.
You know, I
Well,
wouldn't
the
call them
point-
people, you know.
yeah, well, the thing is, like, I guess what I'm also trying to say is when you have a pregnant person in your life, and I should say woman, but, you know, inclusivity.
Yeah.
If you have a
Birthing
pregnant
person.
Hunter Biden, for example, no.
If you have a birthing hunter.
If you have a birthing canal that walks around on 2 stick legs and has a cunty attitude, no. So
Whoa! I'll
I'm
be sure
talking
to
about-
include that in the description, Jeff.
Our new host Jeff, who I've asked to be the host 4 times now. All right.
Well, 4,
So,
5,
no.
6, 12,
What I'm trying to
18.
get at is there was a moment when I kind of went over that with my wife where
Your birthing person.
my birthing person, well, someone had to do it. I wasn't going to fucking do it. One of us, you know, I have to
Well,
do
yeah,
other
she
shit.
had to. You had stuff going on. You couldn't be.
I have
birthing.
other shit to do. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I mean, we all know that a man can have a uterus. This is a fact, an undeniable, irrefutable fact that a man
Tom,
can
I had-
have a uterus.
Can I tell you something?
I've got
I
two
had
of
2.
them.
I was Damn it! All right, then I'll go with the
what
other
happens
one,
when
which
you
is
have like a professional comedian and then me, who's like an aspiring comedian, trying to like compete for timing,
Yep.
right? And like I'll just steal the joke right out from under you.
well,
I've
Tom.
got-
I'll tell
I've
you,
got
with
many.
enough money, you'll have another person's 2 uteruses. Anyway, so so
I have a bag on the side that I carry around. It's my artificial uterus.
yeah, do you want to
It's
see
like
it?
one of those colostomy bags.
What do you think I'm drinking? Anyway,
A birthing canal or a birthing uterus.
yeah, this is birthing lube right here.
A woman's uterus versus a man's uterus. That's a colon, right? it's a man's uterus.
Tom, the difference is a semicolon.
Oh, Jerry.
Yep.
Can you like, you've got like your release. Can you, Jerry?
Yeah.
We're in a weird time right now.
I don't even know where we are, actually. Can I just say real fast my point?
Well,
And then
I
we'll
was
go to
gonna
the
say,
joke.
like, imagine like
okay.
the people who really think that they are, and they're a man, and they're born biological cis man, right? Or
Mhm.
I guess these people are like trans or whatever, but they
Sure.
were born a biological male, and they're being fucked in the butt by somebody. They're referring to it as breeding while they're getting fucked in the butt, right?
Yeah.
And they are
As
imagining an egg
Yes.
being released
oh,
and the semen entering their colon, where
Uh-huh.
they will meet, and this fertilized egg will attach to the colon wall. Like, there are people out there who believe this is a thing, Jerry. What a world, right? Could you imagine? Explain
that's
this,
incredible.
Jerry. Explain this to your grandfather who fought and fucking died in World War II. Explain this to him.
yeah.
That there is a man out there who was born a biological male and who is
Right.
asking people on the internet to breed him so that he can release his egg and have it fertilized in his anus, and
Yeah.
it will attach to the colon wall and create a baby so that he can take half a year off, half a fiscal year off from his position in the Department of the Transportation to breastfeed his baby with his male his male civil union partner or whatever.
Sure. His
And
male
explain
wife,
that to
Tom.
your grandfather,
His
Jerry.
male wife.
Can you?
I mean, I could
Without
but
getting slapped in the mouth, because I'll tell you what, my grandfather would have beaten my ass if I tried to explain that to him. He fought.
Yeah,
he
he would-
fought on the beaches of Normandy, and if I tried to tell him that a male birthing person exists, he would beat
Yeah.
me to death. He would beat
Dude.
me harder than he beat the Nazis. You know what I'm talking
That's
about?
dude. That's the type
With a
of
belt.
topic. That's the type of topic where, like, okay, someone gets so mad that they act like you did it. That's the first thing, right? And then secondly, it's not even good enough just for a beating. The next part is like ruining your dreams. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, if it was my grandfather and I was trying to explain it to him, and let's imagine also
You
I
would
was
never.
younger. Like, imagine I was younger, because of course he's
Sure.
been dead for quite a number of years now because I'm old. And let's just go with I'm younger.
Our
and I'm gonna-
hypothetical grandfathers, because mine
Our
also died in
hypothetical grandfather,
1994 and 96.
Yeah. I'm much younger. He's much younger than dead. And I'm trying to explain
He's on
it
his
to him.
deathbed, and you're trying to explain to him a human birth person.
Yeah. I'd be like, look, Grandpa, I have this friend who wants to come to your funeral. Here's the thing, right? No. So I try to
You're
explain.
preparing. Hey, create the invites for your funeral, so we can print them out and hand them out.
I feel like Grandma's just gonna a-okay everything, but I want to make sure you don't haunt me. Can you just please tell me if this is okay? So you try to tell him, right? And then not only does he find the last bit of strength to beat your ass, but when you're done, he'll say some shit that just fucks you up. Like, let's say he'll just go, like, if you're young enough, right?
I always knew you were gonna grow up to be a birthing person. You
Dude, no,
fucking
no.
faggot.
No. He won't
whoops
even.
you with
No. It's
his
worse than
IV
that.
line.
Oh no, dude, it's worse than that. He just whispers in your ear, "Wrestling is fake." You know what I mean? Like, and you just, you know what I'm saying?
Jerry,
like,
we're trying to keep this fucking show on the air. All right, come on.
I'm saying it's like whatever the equivalent of your age is for, like, you know, like Santa's not real question. Like, you understand?
What?
Like if he said,
I don't get that reference, Jerry. We believe
don't
in
understand
Santa
what-
in this household.
Oh, you do? Well, that's
do.
fine. But the grandfather would tried to tell, you know,
My
because that's a
grandfather
serious.
believed in Santa to his dying day. I
Yeah,
asked him.
you know what?
his dying
Okay,
moments. I said,
you
"Do
know
you
what
still
his
believe in
dying
Santa,
moment
Grandpa?"
was? To
He said,
say,
"Yes."
Santa's not real, and I'm gonna send a birthing person to take care of you in the home.
Well, no, none of that happened. And my grandpa, how dare you accuse my grandfather of not believing in Santa, Jerry?
Yeah.
You know, we've endured some hardships in this friendship, but I'll tell you what. Accusing my grandfather of not believing in Santa is where I draw the line.
That's it.
And there's my quote for the week.
That's it. That's the whole week.
Believing in Santa is where I draw the line in the sand.
That's
All right,
it.
let's do this thing. We got to do this thing, Jerry. No, go ahead. Do what you got to do.
Because I didn't get to.
You didn't even get to your point because we were talking.
Yeah. The point is, I want to simply. We're in really difficult and dark times. And while we here at You Had Me at Bigfoot are trying to be, on air at least, the happy warriors as described by the Fed or fan that talked to me on Telegram. The thing of the matter is there are those real life things that happen. And I guess I want to just try to say, like, we kind of forget now because so much has become much more clear. And maybe a lot of us, of course, were on the uptick. Like, we understood right away, oh, this is not cool. This is a sham. This is a dangerous, all that. I want to put out there that in my experience, like, so I want to put this as if it is something you all could have gone through too. There were professionals, both like in the employment sense, in the friendship sense, in the part of the being a pregnant, being someone who's pregnant sense, all the doctors you see, this and that told my wife that she should get the shot while pregnant.
Yeah.
And treated her like shit. Like she was stupid. Like a real dum-dum. And, of course, treated me that way, too, but I didn't have...
Yeah, who cares if... Because we talked... Yeah. I mean, we've said some pretty horrible things to each other, and that's fine. But but we have to protect our wives, right? That's when it gets offensive, is like when somebody says something mean about your wife.
Yeah. Look, I mean, the other thing is, too, like, just forget even, like, the male shit where I'm just like, yeah, I'll take it, but you say one... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one thing. But the second part is, it doesn't even matter about me because she's the one who's... You understand? Like, you could judge me a little bit, and how do you sleep next to a pregnant wife without being vaxxed or something? I guess there is that. But the truth is she had another person growing inside of her, and people were trying to advocate and demean her to put in a experimental serum of we don't even really know what or whatever.
Well, I mean, we're getting a better picture of it.
Yeah, we're getting a better picture, but at the time, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we knew at the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and I guess I just want to say, on air, first of all, as I did upstairs before I came down here, that I'm proud of my wife for having the backbone and the wherewithal and the strength to put up with all that shit and believe in herself and her own judgments and her own measures to take care of her kid even before she came out. That may or may not have saved my baby's life. You understand what I'm saying? And there are people out there right now who, in spite of all the evidence that's coming out, that should make them quiver in fear at some of the recommendations they might have put upon people that they have power over, influence over. Right? I mean, lawsuit. You understand? If I found out, for example, that some higher up at my wife's job influenced her and shamed her so much that she took it and my baby died, I want to stay on the show and because so I can't say it, but I think I don't have to, right? You understand? And that's the kind of shit that I took from it. I know we joke all the time and I keep the COVID stuff off of the whoopsies, but that is something I felt like had to be said here, that for those people who haven't gotten it and had to deal with that kind of shit, and the vindication you're getting, either as just a normal single-ass individual who may or may not be able to have a birthing canal.
Well, we all have birthing canals.
Right, we all have them. Well, some of us,
you just have tapped into it.
We have them removed or rent them out,
Some are
But
used
anyway.
more than others. Yeah.
Yeah, some are used. All right. So, look, I guess I just want to say that I congratulate all of you who've dealt with that shit and persevered and laughed and smiled. But also, if you know anybody who's done that kind of thing and maybe even influenced someone to put a baby's life at risk, let alone the adult, right? Don't forget them in the times ahead.
Yep.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, let me say
And don't
this,
forget
Jerry.
the strength that my wife said, "Oh, I will never question whether I'm doing the right thing taking care of my kid again." And I said, "Good." I mean, I understand what she means. You know, you always question, but what she means is like she really didn't know at the time. You know, she
And
was
now
like,
we know. Yeah.
yeah, she took it in her heart and her gut, and from me and from family members and stuff. And luckily, she believed us and herself and persevered. Because who the fuck knows? I mean, I could have a wife as a vegetable and a dead kid.
Yeah.
I don't know. And
it's
there are probably
looking
people out there
more
that
and
had
more-
that.
Yeah, there's more and more like that. That's the result that came from it. So let me say this, Jerry. I couldn't give a shit about you, but I am proud of your wife for sticking it out, and despite all, nevertheless, she persisted and she didn't get the shot. And also to people like Megabit's wife, Stephicus, and to Chris Rose commented in the chat. He said he was the same position. They stuck it out in Australia, of all places, right? And he managed to stick it out. So I mean, of all of us, I feel like Chris Rose is the one that deserves the most props for sticking it out and hiding in the shadows. They were like literally in people's attics, right? And like as the Gestapo were going around beating on doors, like who's vaxxed in here, right? And then and Critter
Who's
McKimber
next in
shoots-
there, mate?
Yeah, who hasn't had their vaccination?
You got those little unjabbed roos in there.
Yep. So I was very fortunate. I of course am a conspiracy fucking nut. So my wife and I've been very fortunate because now all this conspiracy shit that I dump on everybody is coming true. So I end up being the guy who's right all the time. And people are like, "Wow, damn, Tom, you're a smart dude," which is not something I've ever in my life heard until recently. But yeah, now they're like, "Oh, wow, he knows the shit." But luckily, fortunately, my wife, we had our kids way back when, before all this COVID stuff hit. But I think if we were in a position where she were pregnant right now, with me being a conspiracy nut, and then with her brother being in the medical field and very, very knowledgeable on that sort of stuff. Even he is I can't say much about him because I don't know how much. I don't know who's like compiling lists and shit of like and putting together clues and shit. But anyways, between the two of us, my wife also remained unvaccinated, and I think if she were pregnant throughout this COVID situation, she would have remained unvaccinated too. I would hope. But anyways, yes, kudos to everybody who remains a pure blood. Very happy to be among the chosen elected few. Are we doing this shot and then we're doing the whoopsies? Because again, we're already at that point in the show where we gotta
hurry it up because you have to talk about your vendetta here.
Oh,
you
do
have
I have to talk about that shit today? Okay.
You
I guess
don't.
I can shave it down to very
Well,
brief.
you don't. I just remember that
I
at
would
the
like
end of
to.
last show you said
I know
that we
there's a
would.
lot of people out there who are probably like interested to hear what happened with the HOA. So I think we can dedicate 10 minutes to the shot because the shot is never just a shot and done. But we can do the shot, we can do the saying the names, we can do all that in 10 minutes. We do 20-minute whoopies and we do 10 minutes of HOA, I think. So anyways, to those who are in the chat, welcome. Don Trout, who was actually the first. He took the lead today. He took it away. Chris Rose, Anna, Jimmy Pregler, who's new to the chat. Anna, I've never. They commented.
Their one comment was redacted.
Yeah, they redacted it. It was just, and it wasn't even like it was offensive. It wasn't like, "Oh, gas the Jews," right? It wasn't like something like that. It was, "Hey, what's up, guys?" Or and then it was just like,
"What's up, dog?" Oh shit.
Yeah, I don't want them to know that I said, "What's up, dog?" Jimmy Pregler, Mike in Manitoba, Joseph Barr, Jacob, Thundercock. I know out there somewhere J-Dubs is listening, and I know he's not in the chat, but he is listening, and I want to make sure that he knows that we love him. We love our J-Dubs, even though we like berate him in the chat and all that shit. Thundercock, Megabit, Stephicus, I assume is out there. Efren Flores, he just jumped in right now, so he got ahead of Critter Me Timbers, our favorite Critter Me Timbers, our favorite conspiracy chick, Critter Me Timbers. Ben? Why did I write Ben? Oh, duh, because Ben listens to the show. He's not actually in the chat. But Ben, yes, welcome to the chat, Ben. The Tyler from Ben's work, and then Superfan.
Cool.
Tying up some loose ends, I do want to say this. Mike, you mentioned something about ABBA during my ketamine treatment. I will add, the only thing, my favorite song by ABBA is Take a Chance on Me, and I think that will be just weird enough with the way they overlay their voices. You know, they start at different points, and it's like, take a chance, you know, all that stuff. I think if I add that right there around that Corey Hart, or if I alternate that Corey Hart song, because I know that's the song that plays when I'm the most fucked up, I think that would be a fun one to have playing at that moment where I'm just like in a panic in the middle of my ketamine K-hole, as it's called. And then the other thing that I wanted to say was, after we talked last week about the ketamine thing taking me into the spirit realm, and trying to use that as an opportunity to fight ghosts and stuff, I think what I'll do this next time,
in ghost court, obviously,
in ghost court, if I have the blessing of the chat,
girl.
let me get a thumbs up or a thumbs down or some kind of notification of whether or not you're pro or against this, because I'm now on a higher dose of the ketamine. They kicked it up, and I didn't know how it was going to be, so I didn't want to like jump into it with the higher dose and end up being so fucked up. But this next time, so next Friday, I will be going in with the higher dose, which I know how it's going to affect me, and I have the expectation. I understand what's going on. I'm going to play the Doom soundtrack instead, and I'm going to go in with the express like intent to go and fight ghosts and demons and stuff. So if that's something that you want to hear about, not this next week because it's every 2 weeks sort of, but if that's something that you want to hear about my adventures of like going into the K-hole with the Doom soundtrack
I put
playing,
both thumbs up? Is that possible?
Yeah, do whatever you want, but let me know if that's something that you want me to do. Or if you're like the one or two people who's like of good mind who's like, no, Tom, that's super fucking dangerous. Like, you can be the guy who does the thumbs down, but like I'm sure a lot of people will be like, yeah, do it, dude. Oh yeah, see, mostly Wavy's like, let's go. 3 thumbs up.
Oh, by the way, I don't mean to throw the conversation, but
no, please do.
I think, okay. Tom, as an aspiring comedian, I think you know or can get the gist of like when a door opens. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say you're on stage, someone in the crowd says something, and then you just pounce, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if Stephicus being in on the joke of the fact that you are always mentioning her
mother,
lovely mother,
her hot
right?
mom.
Yeah. She came in and said, "Hi, I'm here. We've been Mother's Day shopping." And I thought, I am sure that it's just an innocent sharing of what they've been doing. But at the same time, it's that little opening,
Jerry,
to get, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, she could have said, "Oh, we were shopping." And instead she's like, "Oh, hey, Tom's show. I was Mother's Day shopping."
Well, because she knows that we all love her mom.
I'm just saying, there's all the people in here that love her mom, and then there's the way that I mean, it's respectful, but I'm just saying, she opened the door. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's a door opening. Jerry. Yeah. I didn't want you to miss your door opening. I guess is really what it is.
And so here's the thing about me is like I will, and people know this about me, is like my jokes are never. I'll do the do-it-yourself joke where I'm like, "Hey, here's the material. Go for it."
Stephicus, I'm sorry.
If it's successful, then they can be like, "Oh, Tom told this. He kind of like came up with the idea for this." I know they never will, but sometimes. Anyways, sometimes jokes don't, like, I'm very close to a joke. So like when and I'll tell you, like, if I mistook something, I'll be like, "Oh, I misread that, and it was way funnier the way that I misread it," right? So it's not necessarily like I'm taking advantage. It's not like I'm particularly clever It's just that I misunderstood something, and it's way funnier with the way that I misunderstood it. So when I saw her comment before you even said something, it said, I thought it said, "What are you doing for Mother's Day?" And me being, and I wasn't going to say it out loud because the answer would be your mom, right? Like
right.
that's
well,
what
sir, Tom, dude, here's the best.
Thing, and I was like, nope. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say doing your mom. Don't say doing your mom. It was one of those situations, and I
Tom,
didn't. But then you told me that that's not right.
Dude, even better. Okay, I saw the comment, right, and the first thing I thought when I read that she was Mother's Day shopping in my mind,
panties,
I heard,
right?
No, I thought.
Bras.
I bet Tom was Mother's Day shopping for your mom too.
Man, I feel so guilty about because
Right,
she's
like,
like such a kind. You know what? It's so. I've seen
very
videos
nice.
because Stephicus, super great mom. I've seen the pictures of her with their baby, and great mom.
Oh, sure.
The kindest person. She's so good to her kid,
Dude,
brothers
she comes
and
back
sisters.
to the show the way that we talk. Do you understand? Like if we just laid that out,
right? And so she knows that we like respect her a great deal. And then her mother, I've seen the videos of like when she's sharing shit around the house of like Jim's or Megabit's birthday or whatever. Her mom was present and she was doing funny stuff or whatever. Like I watch the family goings on and I'm like, what a great family. Like I love watching this. It's so cool. The family dynamic when you've been in a family long enough and you're like the head of your family, you start seeing other families and you're like, that's a good family. You can recognize real, right? You see all that sort of stuff. I see it in her things and I'm like, I feel so bad making jokes about her mom, right? Not jokes, but I feel so bad making comments about her mom, right?
Yeah.
But her mom is she's so hot, right? You can't not say these things about her mom. She's so pretty, right?
Right.
And you just know. And I'm gonna dime Megabit out here. I'm gonna get Megabit in some trouble. You just know, right? Because you know this, Jerry, right? Okay. When you're dating, who do you look to see how your wife is going to turn out in 40 years, right? 30, 40 years. Who do you look to?
Oh, Miss Cleo. She has the clearest answers out of anybody.
Yeah, if you're dating Miss Cleo's daughter, then that's
sorry.
where you would go.
Oh, see, she's a Claire.
You look
palm readers, Tom.
You look at your girlfriend, her mom, right? And I know, no matter how much he says, "Oh, babe, no, that's not what happened." I know.
Oh my goodness.
That Megabit looked at his future mother-in-law and said, he looked at first and foremost, I'll say this. He looked at his girlfriend at the time, and he was like, "Oh gosh, she's beautiful, she's amazing, she's great, she's gonna make a wonderful mother." And then like he goes home to meet the parents, and he's like. He probably proposed that night. I guarantee it. He probably proposed that night. He was like, "Yep, this is it." He probably like knew he was going to do it, but then like when he went and met the parents, he's like, "Fuck it." He's like, and he got down on one knee, and and see Jacob says, and Critter Me Timber says you look at the dad, right? Because what's terrible is I look exactly like my dad. It's so funny because it's true. Like once I put on glasses and I grew my hair out a little bit, I was like, I look exactly, and grew a beard. I'm like, I look exactly like my dad. I look nothing like him without all that shit. Like when I was in the army, I looked nothing like my dad. Now I look exactly like my dad. But yeah, you would. And Jacob says he's never seen Stephicus's hot mom, and I can't. As much as I would like to be the guy who like tracks her down on Instagram and takes. Sends pictures to all my friends or whatever, like, "Hey, here's the chick I'm talking about." I'm not going to. I would never be that guy. That would be fucked up. That's something you have to get with Stephicus about. But yeah, beautiful woman, lovely mother, raised an amazing
Happy Mother's
daughter.
Day to everybody.
Raised an amazing daughter who we're celebrating this weekend. We're celebrating Stephicus because she is, she's got a hot mom. So. All right, what are we cheersing to besides Stephicus's mom, Jerry? What are we cheersing to?
Well, after saying all that, I don't think I could go back to the serious stuff. I was going to be like to all those people who've resisted so far, to the strength of people who, those people we just talked about. I think that's actually a good thing to toast to.
All right. We can do that. All right. To all the people,
And
to
hot
all
moms,
the purebloods,
I guess. Also
to
that.
all the purebloods and their hot moms.
There it is.
Man, that banana stuff is so good, but it is like strong. I'm gonna start hiccuping here in a second.
Oh no.
Stifficus, she said, enough. That's the best. All right, Jerry, what do we got on the whoobies? Let's talk whoobies.
Can I tell you? I even have notes.
Well, I would expect that you often have notes. You know what I mean?
No, a lot of times
you freeball it.
Well, not so much freeball because I'll see something and I go, "Oh, that's funny."
Oh, you know what? Hold on a second.
Okay.
Stifficus just said, "For anyone who wonders, I look like my mom," and that makes me feel guilty
shit.
because Stifficus is she's a friend of mine. Megabit is a friend of mine, and I don't want to be that guy who's like, "Man, your wife is hot." Now, I will say he married out of his league. I'll say that. No, I'm just kidding, Megabit. No, Stifficus, she's a beautiful young woman. She really is.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, as a good judge of physical appearance, I would say that your mom equally as hot, different. Though. Okay. Can I say that? Is that the right way to word that? Or no?
I don't.
Did I just make it worse?
Maybe. The thing is, when you start a sentence by saying, "Look, your mom's equally as hot," right? Is that the right track to go down?
Yeah. Well, I've already gone down that route, right?
Right.
But no, I will say this. I will say, there's something. I don't know. There's something different about Stifficus's mom, where I don't have any kind of physical interest in Stifficus. Maybe it's because she's a friend and I see her as like a younger sister, maybe.
Okay.
But her mom, on the other hand, mysterious, aloof. I've not met her mother, right? There's something about her mother, right?
Wow.
That I don't have any kind of she's like a sister to me, right? I don't have that. I have that with Stifficus. Don't have that with Steph's mom, right? So I feel like I can say things about Stifficus's mom that under any other circumstance I would never say about Stifficus, because that would be inappropriate, uncalled for, and totally, out of bounds. Like I would never say that because it's rude, right? Stifficus's
agree.
Mom, on the other hand, I feel very comfortable saying that. No, there's a lot of anger in the chat, right? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, as soon as I said all that stuff, even Critter Me Timbers is like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, I'm noticing that. I was like,
not a popular discussion to talk about Stifficus's mom. The distinction between Stifficus and Stifficus's mom. Yeah.
Right.
No, I recommend you guys go trolling on Instagram and try to find her. It's my best.
Holy shit.
Go, Jerry.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Save me from myself, Jerry.
Yeah. So I have some that are the fill in the blank as usual, but I actually have some that I'm just going to roll out as jokes, which is probably going to save some time. Now, mother arrested for blanking a teen girl in the blank during a incident. I'm going to leave that out. I'm not going to ask you to guess it. In front of young children. Okay? I'm going to do this again. Mother arrested for blanking a teen girl in the blank during an incident in front of young children. What's everybody got on this one? I'm diverting. We're diverting. We're getting back to the show. So what does everybody think? Tom, do you have any immediate thoughts? Any guesses?
Sorry, I was on Instagram. So no, I'm not. Come on, Jerry. Why would you accuse me of such a thing?
Look, I did my best to save you. You did it yourself. I don't.
Stifficus's mom arrested for. No, okay. So mother arrested for. I feel like I've read this story.
You might have.
I would say mother arrested for, and you left a lot of.
Okay, Megabit says shot in the foot. He's dry. Oh, he's dry. Okay.
Oh, so you guys are listening to us on the road. Is your mom in the back seat by chance?
Oh, isn't that
'Cause I
the
know
best?
she's
Oh my
not,
God!
like,
Could you
listening,
imagine
know?
this whole time?
That'd be
Holy
terrible.
shit, dude!
I would have
Wow.
put Megabit in a very difficult situation, right? Which I think he would be able to dig him. So he's a strong man. He's a strong person. He's a strong birthing person.
Dude, he'd be like, "Look, that guy just talked for an hour about how he's on ketamine. Don't even listen to what he's saying."
Yeah, I could totally get away with whatever the fuck I want. Yeah, hell yeah, I want to talk about Stephagus' mom. No, I would never. No way. I'd get in all. No.
Oh my goodness.
No. There's a lot of people out there
Mm-hmm.
who like would be very angry at me for talking about Stephagus' mom. There's a lot. I can think like on one hand, one hand is full, maybe two.
No, I'm watching the chat too.
Yeah, a lot of people are not happy about me talking about Stephagus' mom.
Let's refocus.
Mother arrested
for blanking teen girl in the blank.
So you put blanks in places where like it makes me think any reasonable person would think that this is like arrested for verb teen girl in the noun, like a bodily noun, right?
Right.
During an incident in front of young children. But the skeptic in me, right, which is a very small version of me, I feel like it's not that. I feel like there's something to that. Okay. I want to say it's mother arrested for strangling teen girl in the Cole's dressing room during an incident in front of young children. Great. How close am I?
I'm going to give more credit to Megabit here because he was half right. Mother arrested for shooting teen girl in the face during a road rage incident in front of young children. And what made it even better was that the song playing was
Crazy Town's Butterfly.
Somebody once told me the word. Whoopsie. Toasty.
Was that the song that was playing? I was waiting for the real song to play.
No, Tom, I have no knowledge of any songs. I thought that was a good callback, and
I was like, oh, it's gonna be like something, you know how the news gets all gay about that.
Oh yeah,
where they're like, oh, it's drowning pools.
Oh, they
bodies,
died and they
right?
listed.
It's Korn got the life, or was I don't know.
Someone's ex-boyfriend killed the girlfriend, and they were playing "My Heart Will Go On" at the time, or something. Yeah, so no, it's but I do, Tom.
Hold on,
question.
Jerry.
Yes.
What? It says here, Jay Coob says he got it 100% right, Jerry. What the fuck?
Oh, where's Jay Coob?
I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it at all.
Did he say it and then it just didn't show up in the chat here? Maybe it showed up on the screen.
Yeah, honestly, Jake, if you look at the chat, I don't have the Graham comment. Seriously Critters comment. I got it 100% right. Nothing else.
Yeah, it must. You know what it probably was sometimes YouTube. It will show the stuff on the. That's why we have it.
Oh, maybe
that it shows.
Dude, Tom.
On the
literally,
screen,
maybe he said shot her in the face. Maybe they literally didn't let it go on because it's you know what I mean.
So what happens is when you say stuff, it will populate on the screen, which is why we do that. Is so it'll show up on the screen, and they can't get rid of that, but it won't show up in our chat window.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I've had people say like the N-word or whatever, and it will show up. It'll show up on the screen, but it won't show up in my thing. And then somebody will say something. I'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. But it'll show up on the video, and we get away with it that way. So I mean, your picture always says you wouldn't forget to add the piss and spit. Right? So I mean, like, we get away with a lot more with what's on screen than what's in the chat. So, anyways, apparently,
sorry,
Jacob got it right.
I didn't know. I did not know. I'm very sorry for that. So Tom, pansexual Florida teacher. I'm just running jokes now, okay? Because I know we're running
You're
out of time.
just saying words.
I'm just running jokes now.
You're just saying controversial words. Pansexual Florida
teacher.
Yeah.
Pansexual Florida teacher was fired for discussing her sexual orientation with middle school students. Tom. Her sexual orientation is panhandle sexual.
That can't be right. What is she in Tallahassee?
Panhandle sexual. Tom.
Terrible. Jerry, come on.
Tom.
Don't quit the Mad Libs, Jerry.
Tom.
Let's go
Tom, the old Tom. That one was on the fly. Tom. LAPD says the man who tackled Dave Chappelle on stage pulled a replica gun on the comedian. Tom, do you know how they figured out it was a replica gun? It was because of the bang flag that came out of the end.
I was gonna say because it didn't fire, but that's even. And I was trying to think of like how.
Tom,
I thought you were telling me a real thing.
Tom, it was a dead giveaway.
Oh, Jerry, come on, let's get back to the Mad Libs.
That one I'm proud of. Bang.
I like that. You should have stuck with the bang at the end. That one was pretty good, but then the dead giveaway. Nobody died, Jerry.
No, but
that joke doesn't make sense.
That's the dead. All right.
It's a living giveaway. There's no such thing.
It's a living. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's a live giveaway.
Do we all know of Grandmaster Flash? Everybody knows Grandmaster Flash here?
Yeah, from Run DMC.
You piece of shit. So, hip-hop pioneer Kid Creole, who was in Grandmaster Flash, he got 16 years in a Manhattan steak knife killing. Tom, I don't know if you know this. He stabbed a guy on the street because he thought the guy was hitting on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, when he was asked why he went so far as to stab the guy, he said, I wasn't interested, and he just didn't get the message. The Message, Tom. That's the hit song by...
Well, nobody knows who Run DMC is, Jerry. That joke is lost on the millennials.
I honestly feel like I'm on SNL right now. I'm literally scratching out jokes, ready to toss papers in the air.
Yeah, you're doing the Norm Macdonald.
That's it. That one's done. All right, this one
Nobody
I think
knows
would be better.
Who that band is, Jerry. Nobody listens to the only band that was listened to in the 1990s was Limp Bizkit. We made this clear at the beginning of the show. Okay.
Yeah.
And then at the
and then
for a very brief period,
ICP.
and then we transitioned directly to Crazy Town, right? There was nothing else, and there has been nothing since. It's been Limp Bizkit, Crazy Town. That's where we're at. Is we're still on Crazy Town Butterfly.
Okay. Well, Tom, I think there are other parts of history in the recent past that people in this chat, at least, will appreciate. Tom, decomposed body in a barrel found by boaters at Nevada's drought-starved Lake Mead. Tom, they have actually pointed the finger at the murderer. Can you believe this? They figured it out. It was also Stephen Paddock.
Yeah, well, you know what? Here's the thing, Jerry, about Stephen Paddock is
Tom.
He was
also Stephen Paddock.
I know you're trying to make a joke, but here's the thing.
Do you want to know how they knew?
Do you want to know how they knew? No, go ahead, please.
Because the feds were there.
Because you're making jokes about a guy who legitimately, like, he was a CIA informant, right? Like, you're making jokes about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably still alive. He might be in my basement right now.
Yeah, well, you're telling... Nobody's ever seen the dead... Tell me this, Jerry. What happened to Stephen Paddock when he died? Did you ever hear about a funeral? Did you ever read an obituary? Did you ever read about any of that? Or did you see his name carved into the fucking wall?
I think they made his brother look crazy and his
at the CIA
wife go away. Something I don't even remember. It was weird.
Stephen Paddock was an FBI. He was maybe not an agent, but he was certainly an informant. I mean, as we've seen, what's funny is a lot of people want to shit on like that theory that Stephen Paddock was an FBI informant or some kind of FBI affiliate, right? We have this trope right?
That
Where they
everybody's
say, if you're caught, or if you bunghole this fucking operation, we will deny that you work for us, right? Like, we know that that's a trope that has existed for fucking ever.
It's literally in movies.
And then
written by the CIA, by the way.
Yeah, and this is something that we have seen since before we were born. We know
before the Bourne Identity,
before the Bourne Supremacy, even they would get on the little tape recorder, and it says, "If you're caught, we will disavow any knowledge of your whatever existence." And
however, if you succeed, we will stand on the embers of the burning children's house. What?
And we'll take pictures of it, and then so when you are selected to be the ATF director or whatever, we will release those videos again. But we see that in videos, in movies, in Mission Impossible. We see that that's become
literally
a trope of secret
everything.
Agency. And then all of a sudden, when somebody says, well, that guy was a fucking FBI informant, you're like, oh, come on. Don't be ridiculous. You guys are so silly. You may have been right about everything so far, but there's no way that Stephen Paddock was an FBI informant. Okay, well, check this out. We still maintain that he was. And then we say that, oh, by the way, the cats who supposedly agreed and conspired to kidnap the Michigan governor, they were being compelled, and most of that group was FBI informants and agents. And then we just find out that group was predominantly, almost entirely FBI agents, informants. And by the way, there's a meme about how there was that news story recently where sheriff's deputies on an undercover sheriff's deputies tried to buy drugs from undercover ATF agents, and then they all arrested one another, and then like the taxpayers standing there like, we see that happening, and you guys still want to question the fact that the people who are doing all this bullshit are CIA and FBI and NSA and ATF and all them, and your own local government, your own local police departments, your own local law enforcement in general. They're those people who are doing it. And we keep telling you, hey man, like, you're funding this grab-assery. You need to like raise a flag. They're raising plenty of, false flags. Raise a red flag and say, hey man, why are we funding this bullshit? Because
can we call it a mid 80s to late 90s to early 90s one-hit wonder metal band? Enough's enough.
Can we just say Boys to Men, or no? Can we just go ahead and Run DMC this?
Yeah, we got a Bobby Brown this shit. It's I'm not even sure.
Let's Whitney Houston this, and well, we keep talking.
Isn't it
about...
crazy, by the way? Like, you know that he was just the guy who brought all the drugs and fucked up shit into her life, and then she's dead, and now he's got like his own reality TV show.
I don't know.
So fucking weird, man. So fucking weird. So jury finds actor, film producer guilty of $60 million fraud. Tom, they're finally going after Hulk Hogan for Santa with muscles. Okay.
Stop it. Yeah, don't you dare say an unkind word about the Hulkster. All right, Hulkamania will never die, Jerry. I've made this very clear.
No, but the Santa Claus with the Santa with muscles movie, that one. I mean, I honestly hope that he paid his child support with that.
There's my dad used to tell a joke about, he's like, well, you'll never be as good an actor. Well, when I was growing up and I was like, I want to be an actor, right? And my dad would shoot down my dreams, because he would say, no matter how good an actor you are, he's like, let's aim lower, right? Because you're not talented. My dad was was a realist. He was like, you're not very talented, you're not very smart.
Okay.
Aim to be the best custodian that you can be, right? But at a time, I was telling him, hey man, I'm going to be an actor. And he's like, well, you'll never be as good an actor as Elvis Presley was. Because, let me tell you.
Okay.
In one movie, he played a soldier who played guitar.
Yeah.
In another movie, he played a cook who played guitar.
Yeah.
In another movie, he played a roofer who played guitar. In one of his all-time greatest movies, he played a train conductor who played guitar. Okay, you'll never be as good an actor as Elvis Presley.
Dude, could you imagine if it just took a turn? Like it got to the fifth one, and it was like, do you remember
You'll
that
never
time?
be a guitar manufacturer who cannot play guitar.
Yeah, that time that Elvis played a guitar manufacturer who turned out to be a tranny named Jared Leto.
Even before Jared Leto.
Yeah, just you know what I mean.
And
then Jared Leto used Elvis as Jared Leto as like motivation for Dallas Buyers Club.
Well, then Jared Leto. Now, let me ask you this, Jerry. This is probably
Okay.
the most important, because what I was going to ask was like, did Jared Leto ever play Elvis Presley playing Jared Leto? But because I think that would be Jared Leto's Holland's
Snake hits
opus,
itself
right?
eventually,
Like that
right?
would be his moment to shine. That would be his chance to go up on stage and slap the shit out of Chris Rock, right?
Right.
Which I'm told, right, Will Smith has been banned from the Academy Awards for 10 years, but also Jared Leto has been banned from the Academy Awards for 10 years for Morbius.
And no one knew.
For Morbius.
No one knew.
They
were like, okay, you've been Joker and Morbius
he's long
now.
been banned, right? It's an unspoken rule that Jared Leto. Let me ask you this. Here's the fun one to find. A picture of Jared Leto on the red carpet. You won't find it. All right. Now, and that's not. Hear me out.
You'll have an easier time finding Woody Allen with a woman his age.
Come on, leave
Is
Woody
this thing
Allen
on?
to this. We can't talk
Is
about
this thing
Jews,
on?
okay? We can't talk about Jews having
Okay.
unprotected sex with minors, okay? We're not allowed to talk about that. Just like we're not allowed to talk about Hunter Biden.
That he also imported to this country, like
as an adopted child, right? He fucked
like a
his
good cigar.
underage Chinese daughter, adopted daughter.
That was literally
from Mia Farrow.
That was literally Woody Allen's ancient Chinese secret.
Woody Allen's ancient Chinese secret is to have sex with Chinese secrets. Is to have Chinese secret sex. Underage Chinese secret sex. But Jared Leto, I'll tell you what, we've been picking on Jared Leto a little bit. Here's one thing about Jared Leto. I thought he was really good in that movie, which I can't even remember the name of it, so it wasn't like that good of a film. But there was a movie that came out on Netflix with the big-eyed guy from Mr. Robot, Denzel.
You're thinking of HBO's movie,
Dennis
HBO
Washington.
Max,
I don't know why I was going to call him Dennis. That's such a fucking dork name. And no offense to the Dennises out there, right? Dennis Washington.
Dennis Jefferson.
Dennis Jefferson is Denzel Washington's white name. Like if he had good credit and shit and he had a good job.
Holy shit.
Dennis Washington, Dennis Jefferson. And Jared Leto, like you wouldn't even recognize Jared Leto in that movie, right? Like he
looked like Morpheus, excuse me. Morbius then. He just looked like the same guy to me. And that movie, I hated it. It was awful. I hated it. But
Morbius
I
or
hated
the
it.
one with Dennis?
Oh no, I didn't bother with Morbius. Are you kidding? That looked holy shit. No. No, I got really excited because I actually do like Jared Leto as an actor. Is
it Jerry? I'm going to put you on the spot here. Is it Jared Leto or Jared Leto?
You know, it's funny. I would not take what I have to say seriously in that regard because I said E. coli the other day, and my wife said, "I've never heard another human being refer to as E. coli. It's E. coli." And I'm like,
yeah, your wife is right.
Yeah, I know she's right, and I'm like, I don't know, but you also married me, so what is that? I don't know.
Yeah, so you gotta.
So I can't.
You gotta hold her.
I can't say E. coli, and you took my seed. What do you want from me? I don't know. But
Well, thank God she did because.
I know.
Because who else would? No, God, that's.
Dude,
hurtful.
could you imagine just nothing else? I wake up one day, a bunch of people I know are dying from all the jabs, and then all I have is this show where you're just like, so you barren fat fuck.
Well, Jerry, come on, you weren't fat before you got married, right?
With your man uterus, your dry man uterus.
Yeah, you're not even getting bred by like the handsome fellas. Oh my!
I'm not even getting the Jared Leto's from Dallas Buyers Club. All right, last one here.
Jerry, can I say this? If I were a gay guy, I would breed you. You're a handsome guy.
If I was a gay pregnant breeding person,
Yep.
I would allow you to Wendy's milkshake my uterus.
I appreciate that, Jerry. Thank you. You know what? You'll never receive a greater compliment than a gay guy telling you like that you're an attractive man. Because here's the thing. Women, they get to a certain age and they settle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Gay guys don't. Because they
No, they
will
don't.
always, you'll always see like the gay couples, there'll always be like a super old guy who's not attractive at all, but he'll be with like a handsome younger fellow. You know,
Yep.
like
They know what
there's
sugar
never
daddy
a point
means.
where they settle. You'll never
Wait,
see
what?
two ugly gay guys. Never. But so when you see like when an older
Unless they
gay
got
guy
ugly
hits
together.
on you.
I mean, there is that, you know.
What's that?
Well, some of the, I mean, there is the like that rare occasion where like they got ugly together. You understand what I'm saying? Like they just both suddenly got old
Yeah,
together.
I mean, if you're gay, young, I think a young gay couple, you know, they can get ugly together. But I think like receiving a compliment, you know, an older gay fellow. We're at an age, Jerry. I mean, you got to understand this. We're at an age where like an older gay fellow hitting on you, that should be a compliment.
Right.
You should take that as a compliment because they will never settle. An older gay guy, they never have to worry about it. It's not like they're worried about their eggs drying up, right? They're
Yeah.
just, you know.
Oh, that's true. You have there's
the
a
handsome
there's
guy,
a bit more.
you know?
You're saying there's a bit more honesty to. There's less desperation.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So if you ever
So
get hit on by a gay guy, Jerry, which is why I personally am like flattered by what you just said. You know,
Well, I mean,
he was an older gay male saying kind.
you know, it's funny. I was gonna try to defend myself by saying, didn't I just reference my wife for like 20 minutes? But then, I'm like, in this day and age, I mean, really, that doesn't even.
Well, you know, Jerry, I've watched enough Predator shows to know that like
Oh yeah.
every single one of these.
By the way, can I
predators
tell you,
has a
Tom? I
wife,
blame
you
you.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
go
blame you for this. I remember texting you saying, so we were talking about the Muncie one. Where they caught the school board member or head of the school
president,
board.
yeah.
And then I went down a path of them and then Dads Against Predators and stuff. And I remember saying to you, boy, oh boy, there is just some charm about the women because when I watch Dads Against Predators, I'm like, they're fucking retarded, you know.
Yeah,
but-
and I'm
but
still
here's the thing.
confused, Jerry. Are you talking about the guys from Dads Against Predators?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about the predators
Yeah.
from Dads Against Predators? Really?
Well, I mean, the Predators are, I mean.
Well, yeah, they're dumber than
That's-
fuck. I don't know why. Like,
Right.
they just happen to like. We've talked about this before, Jerry. Like,
Yeah.
you'll never see somebody on there who gets caught who you're like, that's a guy I could see, you know, working up at the, you know, the head of the department over at the college, right? It's never
yeah.
that guy. It's never the
Not
guy.
one
who
of
you're
them
like,
is wearing a button-up shirt. You understand what I'm saying?
You're never gonna see a guy where you're like, that's a guy who has tenure somewhere. I don't know where, but he's got it. You know, you'll never see
Right.
that guy on any of
No.
those shows. Never once have I ever seen a guy where I'm like, oh, that's a guy. And certainly not
No.
after you hear them talk for a few minutes where you're like, oh, this guy's talking about. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's not watching these Predator shows, but you'll never see an individual who you're surprised to see there, right? It's always
Right.
somebody, and most of the time they have wives, right? And kids, you know. So
or
like
at least
when you
they
hear
say
that,
they do. I mean, we don't, you know.
well, and then it's usually confirmed by the people who caught them. You know what I'm saying? So
oh,
like,
that's true. Yeah,
so
that is true.
These people, when they get caught and they're like, "You've got a wife at home, dude." Like, for me, as you know, I'm somebody who has a wife, I'm somebody who has kids. I just don't have time to have an affair. You know what I'm saying,
Dude,
So
fuck
like
that.
these people,
Fuck the affair,
where do
like-
they have the time to have an affair? Not only have an affair, but have an affair with somebody as needy as a child. Have you ever met a child? They're needy, right? You know, who has that kind of time? You know, and
Dude,
what kind of
fuck
sick
that,
individual has to like do that and not think at a certain
Yeah.
point like this is fucking wrong because this is not normal at
Yeah.
all by any stretch. I've never seen anything anywhere that would indicate that this sort of behavior is fucking normal, right?
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, no. And then it's actually.
But you were shitting on DAP. Shit on DAP, and I'm going to argue with you because I will defend DAP to
Okay.
the very end.
Well, the problem in your defense is that it's going to basically go down the line of, well, maybe they are retarded, but they get it all right, and it's true. I want to just say, so okay, Tom. I guess the way I could best describe DAP. Now that here, first of all, I was going to blame you because I gave them a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I watched like 2 videos, and I was like,
don't you dare blame me. Blame Megabit. He's the one who got me into DAP. So.
Well, I'm just going to say I watched them, and I'm like, oh my god, these guys are fucking retarded. So how retarded do these people have to be, right? You know, because if you think okay, the dog catcher is only going to catch the dogs that are dumber than him, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, a good dog
Ergo,
catcher, right?
Ergo, DAP may be retarded, but the other guys are way more retarded, right? So that's how that has to be, right?
They're never going for like the smart predator who, like the Jordan Peterson of predators.
Yeah. There's no like, I'm trying to think like Bill Gates or something. Like there's no.
Well, I mean,
it's not that. Although. Who was the one who caught the guy who worked for Meta or Xbox?
That was PCI or PCM.
That was
PCM.
That was Muncie again, right? Yeah. So okay, so it does. They're not as bad. I told you, I respect them because of the female angle. It brings a whole new situation to the game. But I watched now probably 50 DAP videos. Like I've spent
quick.
a week.
Like you can burn through their entire catalog real quick. Yeah.
While I'm working, if I don't have an appointment, I got it in the background, you know, because it's ridiculous. I wish and I honestly wish that, and they might even, and I'll embarrass myself if I say it, but I want a shirt now that says, "Excuse me, everybody."
Right.
I want that on the show, you know, so I could rep them all the time because
pretty much all my
so
shirts.
incredible.
If I had my way, all my shirts would be just the various predator catchers. You know, it'd be like Pop Squad, you know, just block them, right? Or it would be, you know, excuse me, everybody. Or it would be, you know, predator catchers Muncie, or India. You know, yeah, I would absolutely just wear predator catcher shirts everywhere if I could, but I can't. I mean, if I had an extra $100 lying around, you know, when I get this refinancing of my home, I might just go on a spending spree and I'll buy just a bunch of shirts that say,
Tom, just take up a few more hours where you can't teach, you know?
Well, yeah, if one day, all it would take was one day, and I could buy one of all my favorite, you know, PCI, PCM, DAP.
There it is.
I could get Pop Squad. Those are my favorites. You know, Pop Squad, PCI, PCM, and DAP, and then Colorado Pred Poachers, and then our guy from up in Canada. But I don't think he has any merch. He just does it. He's like a guy who I feel like he showed up to a job he didn't apply for, and he's just like there still after all this time. I'll tell you what, though, there's one thing that DAP, now you can pick on DAP because they are just a couple of goofy guys, but like, look at it this way, Jerry. If you and I started a predator catch, because I think about this every time, every day, not a day goes by where I don't think about starting my own.
Dude, I've thought about literally starting one with you in particular.
Exactly. So we hop on and we start doing that as part of like you had me at Bigfoot subsidiary or whatever, or like a separate entity.
Dude, we finally have a reason to start a Patreon.
Right. We piggyback off of that, but we're like, hey, fans of You Had Me at Bigfoot, we're doing this thing now where we're catching pedophiles and shit. You know, we do that. I think it would be so funny. But like, I look at these guys and there are some things that they say that are so fucking funny to me. Like, I think that DAP is very much what we would be, because, you know, they have like kind of it's not really a good cop, but it's like a neutral cop, you know, is the white guy who sounds like he's a black guy. Josh, I think is his name. Anyway, I don't remember any of their names. But yeah, him. And then there's
the
like
yelly guy. There's
cop, who's like the super white guy who's like very country, but very like he's country, but he grew up in the ghetto. Dude. And like you're afraid of him because he's the white guy who had to do who knows what to gain the respect of the ghetto, you know. And so that's the guy, you know, like there's.
Dude, can I tell you?
That's it. And go ahead.
Have you seen the one? And I don't know if this affected you the same way.
Megabit says CP Catcher is the nicest guy. He really is. He's so funny. Come on, buddy. Dude. Come on, bro. Come on, brother.
Come on, man. Dude, the one where they had a friend of theirs who had been sexually assaulted as a kid actually meet and confront the guy.
Dude, no, it was that
at the
dude.
church.
It was the white guy who grew up in the ghetto.
Dude, can I tell you something? Here's the craziest shit about that, right? because, I'm feeling for this guy. You could feel the tension. You know what I
You
mean?
made me suck your dick, or you made me you
Dude.
touched my dick. All that stuff.
Dude.
Yeah.
But I'm talking pregame. The guy isn't even out of the church yet. They're talking up against the building. They're trying to pump him up. They're like, just keep it inside. This is that guy, man. Just, you're bigger than him. You're better than him. Like, they're trying to, and then it's this really weird, almost like, and this is fucked up, and I hope they never see this because I'm
telling as soon as you say it, whatever it is.
All right.
DAP.
Dude, all right. It's one of those things where, like, it's almost like a Jamie Kennedy emotional breakdown. Like, okay, because he's a white ghetto dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a version. Imagine if Joe Dirt or Jamie Kennedy, in one of those rap movies, or a hip hop, like a, urban movie, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Imagine they have a breakdown, right? An emotional breakdown. They might say some serious shit, but they're going to always say it in the dumbest fucking way possible, right? So, like, here's this guy. He's trying not to cry, right? And he's going up against this fucking fat behemoth piece of shit that you just want to smack as soon as you see him, right? And you're on this guy's side. They're pumping him up the whole time. And then he just goes, "You made me suck your dick, dog. 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 Who's the man now? Dog, you made me touch your dick. How many times you played me, motherfucker?" And you're just like, dude, if you say dog, how many times you make me suck your dick? I can't, like, I want not to laugh at this situation, but this is
You're
like
laughing at this kid's plight, Jerry.
Dude, this is like if Jonah Hill was in, what's that movie? Where,
Superman.
No. Him and Channing Tatum play the cops. Oh, also
21
Superbad,
Jump
though.
Street, yeah.
Yeah, where they had to play, like, imagine they had to go be in a more urban school environment, and then he has a breakdown where he's like, "Man, of course I love your sister, Laquan. Do you know how many times I had to suck your dick just to get into this house, dog?" And you're like, I can't, right? Like, it's one of those, that's not real, right? There's not a real life. What I'm saying is, you watch if you ever had a moment where someone had a real emotional break because of something they've shared, maybe you're in therapy with a person, group therapy with a person, and they break down, or maybe, perfect example. When Jesse on Breaking Bad had to grow as a character for you to respect his emotions, right? Because in the beginning, he was a fucking idiot and a, annoying pissant and all that. So if he had a real gripe with, why can't I think of his name? Walter, you'd be like not respecting his real gripe because he'd go, "Yo, man, yo, bitch, I need some more fucking dough, motherfucker," or whatever. And there's Walter dying of cancer, just trying to make some money for his, retarded kid or whatever, right?
Yeah, well, his handicapped kid who's hosting the Deep End Special Olympics at the YMCA.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's called the callback.
Yeah, so then you're watching that and you go, "Oh, I don't respect Jesse," but then he evolves, right? And then you do. So when he's crying and he's drooling and he's foaming at the mouth, you're like, "Wow, man, holy shit, you grabbed my heart." But in that same show, if his two junkie friends had a breakdown moment still, like Badger or the other guy, and they start talking about how one time someone tried to jerk them off so they could get some meth, and it was their high school teacher or something, and they did it because they whatever, and they started crying, but they kept saying, like, "Yeah, my teacher just kept saying, 'Badger, give me your dick, Badger,'" like or something weird. You'd go, "I can't relate to this. I can't do this," right? And so here's this dude just going, "You made me suck your dick, dog, motherfucker, who's the," and you go, "I can't." You're in gym shorts screaming, "Dog, you made me suck." Yeah. I can't. I need someone else to translate so I could really get the violins going. This is fucked up. I can't do it.
So here's the thing, Jerry.
Yeah.
He went through a very real sexually traumatic experience, and you're belittling him in his way of processing it. Yeah. You are, which whatever. I don't care. That people. I don't. Like, if somebody doesn't care about somebody else's plight, that's fine, because there are people who I don't care about their plight. So I would never judge you.
Sure.
But I would ask that you agree with me on this.
Okay.
When it comes to DAP, there is an episode where somebody's caught at a gas station and he starts walking away, and the DAP guys are really like just laying into him. They're really laying into him good. And we get to a point where we're kind of like stale, because like this dude is not walking back to his car. He's trying to walk as far away as he can because he doesn't want them to get his.
His car was like back at the pump or something.
Right.
And
Yeah. And so at a certain point, some strangers show up because they see what's going on. They see a conflict, and nothing draws a crowd like a crowd, right?
Oh yeah.
So they see these guys like just laying into this fucking weirdo, and it's like we said, it's never like a normal guy. Where like if you saw people laying into a normal guy, you're like, well, who knows what they did? Who knows what that is? I'm just gonna mind my own business. But like if you see two guys like really laying into a weirdo, you're like, well, hold on, there's something going on here, right? Because you just know, right? As a man who identifies as like a normal person versus a weirdo. But they come up and they join the DAP guys, right? And they say, they're talking about what this guy said in the chat. And one of the DAP fella who looks like an albino black guy, he says, well, you said that you were going to come in her face. And the stranger who shows up, he's like, what? And then he reads the chat again. He's like, he said he was going to come in this girl's face. And the stranger, who sounds drunk, I'm not going to lie, which makes it funnier, right? Because like a drunk, who speaks more truly about stuff because his mom than a drunk guy? No, this guy, who speaks more truly than a drunk guy? This guy comes up and he says, what if I come in your face? Like that was his answer to this guy, right? And that was the best. Like when I think of a DAP episode and I think of like a DAP interaction,
that's so good.
I think of him saying, he said he was going to come in this girl's face, this underage girl's face. And the dude, the stranger, you could just like, he's not on camera or anything, but you can just like imagine the indignancy on his face. He's just like, what? What if I come in your face? Right? Like that was his response. Yeah. Oh, Megabit says, yo, cut the cameras.
Oh, yeah, that's so funny.
Which is also a really funny thing that DAP does. But
yeah, it's a good bit.
And then like the people panic, as soon as they say, yo, cut the cameras. There was one where DAP actually met up with PCM. And
yes, I've seen a couple of those. Yeah.
Yeah, like the guy is like the black guy in the grocery store, or in the convenience store, and Josh, I think is his name, I assume. He hands
he's the one. Yeah,
this guy a snowball because it's like the middle of winter. He hands him a snowball and he says, "Hey man, hold this." And like the dude takes the snowball, and the black guy from PCI, he starts laughing like in the middle of his interrogation, like he's really laying into this guy. But because Josh hands him the snowball and he says, "Here, hold this, man," and the dude holds it. He holds a snowball in front of him, like he starts laughing. But like that's the best part about these predator catcher things. Like you think back to like I used to watch these To Catch a Predators for like a whole semester of my Infinity program, right? I would watch these To Catch a Predators like over and over and over and over again. I would just have them playing in the background. And now with all these other predators, and it was you and Megabit who were like, "Hey man, you need to check out these other predator catchers." And I was like, all right, I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a shot. It was Megabit told me about DAP, and then you told me about Pop Squad. And then now I'm like hooked. That's all I watch on YouTube. Like I'll be doing dishes.
It's crazy how it takes over your day, right?
Or I'll be doing cleaning. I'll be doing yard work. I'll put my phone in my pocket. I'll just be listening to these predator catchers, and that's all I do now is just watch these fucking predators get caught, and it's the best. And so I do. I'm the same way. I think about doing predator catching with like you or Megabit. I've thought about Megabit. I have thought about like us doing like a collaborative like. And I've thought about the name, what I would go by if we were doing it here in Northern Kentucky, because we have it's the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I'm like, well, the Commonwealth catchers, I've thought about, Kentucky catchers, Kentucky.
Ooh, the catchers of the Commonwealth.
Yeah, catchers of the Commonwealth, cock. We could go by that. Like these sort of things. I think about that sort of stuff, and I'm like, man, that would be so cool. And it's like such a cool. And these people are like, it's a lucrative thing for them,
and
right?
it's also look,
they're making
it might
money
be tiring.
doing it.
You're up at 3 a.m. You are also being bombarded by sick fucks all day, but at the same time, all right, for me, I'd say a good portion of the problems I deal with upstairs, the old noggin, is because there's no release for the torment inside your brain or from outside. You just can't put it out because you have to be a dad, you have to be a husband, you have to be a coworker, you have to be a whatever, right? And you just have to bottle it all up, and then suddenly you're just eating 400 almonds at night watching predator videos because you can't go to sleep, but you can't, I'm imagining, like, I watch these guys and I go, yeah, they probably had months of dealing with this sick fuck and the shit that they had to get like they had to say back or like awful, right? But then there's that day, there's that 5 minutes, there's that, right? Like that to me is like, people need more of that in their day. You understand what I'm saying? And that for me, I'm like, forget about like just running jokes, like, because that's, by the way, again, it's funny how they said it was like the Jerry Springer of DAPs or whatever, or predator catchers, but they were literally hooked up with the police, and they got a guy at a store. They knocked on his window, said, "Get the fuck out of the car," and then the cop came over and got him. And you would think, wow, they've gone legit in some way. No, the entire time they're just making fun of like what the cop's doing. They're making fun of the dude. They're making fun of the car like all that shit. And there's just like a cop who probably put his ass on the line, because there's like Joshua, who's like you said, like he's like a albino black dude who wears cowboy hats.
Somehow.
No, he's not black.
Yeah.
No, he's not black
at all. But he looks black and acts black, right?
Yeah, he's like bleach blonde, tall, act black, white dude who wears also cowboy hats and fancy sneakers.
And Air Jordans or whatever.
Yeah, just always Air Jordans and
he's
a cowboy
such an
hat.
odd duck. But he's like a cool guy, right? He's like the cool guy who's an odd duck, He's Dennis Rodman on the 1998 Bulls or whatever it was, that when he started, like when he had his book where it was dangerous. Yeah, when he had already caught the clap from Madonna or whatever it was. And he's that guy. You're like, man, I'm glad you're on my team because I would hate you if you weren't, kind of thing. So I'll wrap up. It's my last one, and then we could end the show if you want. We're doing the whoopies still?
I have one more. That's all. Yeah, please. Just one. Man gets 1 year in federal prison for attacking a flight attendant and breaching the cabin door mid-flight. Tom, what did he open the door and say?
He said, "Oh, hold on. I know this." He said, "I just want you to know we're all counting on you."
No. No, Tom. He opened the cabin door and he said, "What if I come in your face?"
Toasty! He did not say that. He said, "I went old school."
No,
like that's a reference that not a lot of people will recognize.
No, of course not. He didn't say that either. He opened the door, okay, and he said, "You're my butterfly sugar baby." That's what he said. That's what he said.
No, you know what he said? He said,
okay.
You're sick of yourself. Well, I'm sick of you too, right? Yeah, that's like I went call back even further than you went. So I want to just rub that in your face. What did he really say, Jerry?
No, I don't know.
That's not a real thing.
No, the story is real. He did actually get a year in because, let's see.
You never hear about people only getting a year in jail, right? Like that's like why even bother.
Yeah, what's the point in that? And you figure, well, he didn't touch anybody. Was that what it was? Okay, so here we go. On April 16th, he boarded a flight. During the flight, passengers noticed he was behaving obnoxiously and smelled of alcohol. No way. A flight attendant warned Stone.
Well, they serve alcohol in airplanes. That's like, this guy at the bar was being a real dick. He was being really. He sounded like he was drinking alcohol.
Can you believe this guy's drinking at the bar? Which included pretending So he was pretending to shoot at passengers. So what, like double guns? What are we arresting people for double guns now? What are we doing?
Fuck you.
Yeah.
You and the other my finger guns that I got through security.
Yeah, refusing to remain seated or wear a seatbelt, and reaching for the cockpit door as the flight began its final descent. As Stone approached the front of the aircraft and tried to open the cabin and cockpit doors, a flight attendant attempted to prevent Stone from opening the doors, and as a result, Stone pushed her, grabbed her shoulders, shoved her into the galley wall. Wow. During the altercation, Stone
Where was the air marshal in all this?
I think he said I'm trying to get these snakes off my motherfucking plane. I think that's what he said.
He was
I'm
in the
not
back
sure.
of the plane trying to do that.
Yeah, he was. It was all the way. That was a very difficult
situation.
That's a difficult situation.
From what I understand, there are multiple levels on a plane, especially
yeah.
size.
I think someone else, like he had gotten into the cabin and down below in the tower, they figured it out and they said, well, dude, you're doing a great job bringing this plane down. You're doing a great job flying this plane. Have you ever done this before? Maybe we could get you a job. And he said, no, I can't get a job. I'm white.
Well, he's not really
Do you
white.
remember
He's
that?
like albino.
No, do you remember that quote?
He's albino.
No. Do you remember who that's from?
No.
The fucking guy. It was like a couple years ago. He just stole the plane and flew it. Remember? Remember that fucking guy?
I don't remember plane-related news. No, it's a thing.
Fuck. Why
it's
can't
part
I
of my
think
TBI,
this guy?
Jerry.
Dude, this guy like kind of lost his. He like almost like a falling down type situation.
Yeah.
Where he just had enough, and he walked onto the tarmac and just grabbed a small plane and flew it in the air. And they were talking to him like, "Hey man, can you just, And
can you land this plane, please?
Yeah, can you just land the plane?" And he's like, "No, I'm having a good time," that kind of thing. He was just done. And eventually, he was doing very well, actually. And he, they were trying to do the whole nice guy thing, like, "Oh, you're doing such a great job, blah blah blah." He has a whole manifesto and shit. I wish I remembered his name. For fuck's sake, this is gonna bother me. I can't believe no one in the chat knows this either.
Here's the thing, Jerry. I don't. For a lot of people talk about like you're talking about like a small plane. How big a plane are we talking?
Oh, I don't recall.
Was
the
it just
whole
like
thing.
a kind of like a Cessna or something? People are saying Sky King in the chat.
Sky King, yes. I just don't remember his real name. Okay, hold on.
So to me, Jerry, I have as a general rule, unless it's like a 727, like unless we're talking about like a real plane, anything less than that, I typically I would call that like like you wouldn't call a motorcycle or a moped or a bicycle, motorized scooter or anything. You wouldn't call that a car. In the same way, I don't refer to things that fly as a plane unless they meet a certain size requirement. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Mostly
I do.
says
Well, here,
Richard
let me.
Russell.
Yes,
which
I'm
sounds
going
like
with
a
this.
fake
So
name.
here we
Nick
go,
Russell.
right? Sky
Nick
King is a
Russell.
nickname given to 29-year-old ground service operator Richard Russell after he stole a Horizon Air Bombardier Dash 8 Q400 airliner from the
Is that
Seattle
big?
Tacoma.
Is that a big plane?
I guess I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know my planes.
And died after crashing on Ketron Island in Puget Sound. The incident spawned numerous image macros, photoshops, fan arts on 4chan and other online communities. On August 10th, 2018, Russell stole the airliner after attempting the aircraft took off. What? Oh, 2 F-15 fighter jets were deployed. That day, Boston Globe journalist Matt Carolian tweeted a link to the SeaTac air traffic control broadcast, followed by an announcement that Russell had revealed that he would attempt a barrel roll maneuver.
Do a barrel roll. Yeah, that's
and I think
Star
he did
Fox.
it.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
Star
he
Fox.
did it. After
Did he?
performing the stunt along with other maneuvers, the plane crashed on Ketron Island in Puget Sound. He was the sole applicant and died. So they called him the Sky King, and there were some audio clips that were tweeted out, and here's some choice quotes if you want them. "Sorry, my mic came off. I threw up a little bit. I'm sorry about this. I hope it doesn't ruin your day."
What a kind man.
He goes, "I wouldn't know how to land it. I wasn't really planning on landing it." Just flying around the plane, you seem comfortable with that? Oh, hell yeah, it's a blast. I've played video games before, so, you know, I know what I'm doing a little bit. Okay, and you can see all the terrain around you. You've got no issue with visibility or anything? Nah, everything's peachy. Peachy keen. I just did a little circle around Rainier. It's beautiful. I've also got some gas to go check out the Olympics. Damn it, Andrew. People's lives are at stake. Ah, Rich, don't say stuff like that. I don't want to hurt no one. I just want you to whisper sweet nothings into my ear. Here we go. Well, Rich, I already talked to him. Just like me, what we want to see is you not get hurt or anyone else get hurt. So if you want to try to land, that's the way to go. Hey, I want the coordinates of that orca. You know, the mama orca with the baby. I want to go see that guy. Hey, do you think if I land this successfully, Alaska will give me a job as a pilot? You know, I think they will give you a job doing anything if you could pull this off. And he said, yeah, right. I'm a white guy.
Aww.
And then he killed himself, crashing the plane.
Do you think if he would have landed it, though, he would have gotten a gig in Alaska?
Look, I'll tell you, with all the pilot shortages they have now, am I right?
Well, yeah. Well, he would have had to have been jabbed. Is the problem.
I see I see him faking it. You know what I mean?
You don't think that was real? So here's my thing.
No, he would get a fake jab card. That's what I'm saying.
He would go, oh, well, yeah. Sky King. I believe that Richard Russell would have gone on and defrauded the government. I feel like
holy shit! I didn't realize that. Wow. Mostly Wave. Him and Terry Davis died in the same month. Holy shit.
Yeah. Is that the fella who made his own operating system?
Yes, he did. And the CIA.
Yeah, we're supposed to do an episode. I'll tell you what. We don't talk about him enough. But from Skinwalker tapes, Yakov.
Mm-hmm.
He asked us to do an episode about gang stalking.
Terry Davis? Oh,
well, he asked to do an episode about gang stalking. We're supposed to do one. And I don't know.
Dude, we should. That thing is that. Oh my god. Holy
I know
shit,
Yakov is probably long given up on it. I haven't talked to him in some time. It's been. I go periods of time. Yakov and I are such good friends that like we can go months at a time without talking to one another, and we'll just pick up right where we left off. But
sure.
Last time we talked, it was a friendly conversation. But prior to that, we had mentioned something like several years before that. Actually, I had said, "Hey, if you guys want us to talk about anything," and he said gang stalking in the chat, and I remembered. I will never forget when people like Yakov say something, you remember it, right? So he wants us to do an episode on gang stalking. We will as soon as I graduate, and we can no longer do. If you haven't noticed, these episodes that Jerry and I have been doing lately, I think I referred to it. It's got its own playlist. It's called Tom and Jerry's Buffoonery or something like that. Where like these episodes where we just do the whoobies. They're actually just.
Frankly, I think these are quality shows, though.
Yeah, we have a little bit of fun. Count Rhythm also welcome to the chat. And Efren Flores. I don't know if I mentioned if I welcomed him to the chat.
You
Temple
did,
OS
yes.
Though, that was the name of the operating system that he used. If I've thought about it. If I've ever reached, there were times, I'm very like on the verge of suicide at any given time. I have thought about. We've all been there, right? Yeah. But
I've got stories just as well as you do.
You're like, if I'm gonna do something stupid, I'm gonna go all the way, right? I'm gonna I'm gonna steal a plane and I'm gonna fly and go visit the Olympics, right? I want 4chan to remember me as the Sky King, right? You think about that sort of stuff, but then once you're in the air, you're like, I guarantee any man in the chat right now, raise your hand if you disagree with me. You could fly a plane, you could take off, and you could probably land it. Not necessarily confident that you could land it safely, but you feel pretty confident that you could land it. But once you're in the air, you're in a position where you have like either land the plane or skydive. I have skydived before. I know I can land skydiving. I don't know necessarily that I can land a plane. In a pinch, I'm pretty confident I can land a plane. But in a situation like that where I had two planes following me and trying to escort me back to safety or whatever, I'm probably going to jump. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I would find an island or something, Maybe even I would aim the trajectory of the plane to a major metropolitan area to where they could record the trajectory of it. And then they would have to deal with the plane, and I myself would escape out the back. They may see me, they may not, but whatever. I'm getting away. I'm thinking that sort of thing because I realize that I am terrified of heights. I am terrified of skydiving. It's a very scary thing. I've done it once, and that's all I ever needed to do it. But you're at a point where you're like, well, I'm going to die anyways. I might as well die doing something awesome now. Or if I successfully land this plane, there's going to be people waiting for me who are going to take me to jail. So my options are to go on the lam or land and probably get taken into custody. So I think I would probably jump. Yeah. And I think that would be the best way to go about it, right? Like, would you agree? How would you handle that? Let me ask you this, Jerry. If you were in the air, and you were in that situation where you could either crash the plane, land the plane safely and deal with the consequences, or jump and hope for the best with a parachute. Where do you sit on that? That's kind of like the there's like a
I guess
an emotional, like, they ask those questions like, where are you emotionally? That's kind of like my emotional chart, right? Do you land the plane, deal with the consequences, crash the plane, die, or do you jump and there's like a mysterious outcome? Where are you on that, Jerry?
I like the mystery, I'd love it. Like, I understand there's like a memorial on the internet every year for the Sky King and all that, but I'd love to be that story that people could tell around the campfire where they go, I wonder where he is now.
I wonder where DB Cooper is, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that to me is pretty cool. And so also, who wouldn't want to say they rode a passenger seat for like five, I don't know how many thousands of feet, and then just landed somewhere? That's pretty cool,
I think any situation is kind of like what do you want to bet Sky King is still alive somewhere as an FBI or CIA?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Oh,
if you're supposed to be
so
dead,
horrible, isn't it?
Like Dr. Havel, like if you're supposed to be dead, don't you think that they would like use you?
Oh no.
Oh yeah, and then Mostly Wave even like at the same time. See, I might actually be Mostly Wave. We might be the same person. He said,
there it is.
More of us in the wreckage, brother.
Oh, dang. So true. I guess I'm not riding with either one of you.
Well, that's the thing about me and Mostly Wave is like, they expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. All right, Jerry, what do you have to shill, to say? What do you want to say to these fine people who have stuck it out with us this whole time?
Yeah, thanks for hanging first. Secondly, we know @no thanks is my Telegram. Come hang out with me, follow me, and of course the You Had Me at Bigfoot Telegram channel, where I dump all the more serial whoopsies throughout the week. And come say hi, so I don't think that the only person I've gotten in contact on the old Telegram since I started this show was possibly a Fed that I also led to another homesteading app that I use. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. That's where I'm at.
Is that it, Jerry?
That's it for me.
Speaking of Yakov, when he first came on the show, he's like, friends, countrymen. He did this whole elaborate like introduction. I was like, is that it? Like at the end of it. And like, I still think about it to this day. I'm like, I was not intentionally trying to be funny, but like that ended up being a really funny
That was good.
Yeah, Jerry has become like my source of information. My only source of information, my trusted source of information. He and I have some of the same shared sources, like Discord and Breaking 911, or not Discord. What the hell is that thing called that we like?
That we like?
Yeah, what's that news source?
Well,
that
there's
we
Breaking 911.
And who's the other one? Disclose.
Oh, Disclose TV. That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
we get
have
some
at
of
least
this,
those two in common.
Yeah, we have some of the same sources, but he does share with me some stuff that like is less popular. But I am more inclined to believe than like Fox News or CNN or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, hop on that Telegram and then hop on the Instagram there. You Had Me podcast. have all I really use the Instagram for is shit posting with Critter Me Timbers, and also for sharing the updates on the episodes of like what's going on there with the new episode templates that we spend a great deal of time on, and the descriptions and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So that's always on there. If you ever need to reach me, I'm on there. I'm also on Twitter lately. I've hopped back onto Twitter, like I said, to get on there with Fetusberry and pick on like one individual person. And that's it. That's like my only time that I spend on Twitter. But that's Millerstrator, MILLERSTRATOR, my old account that got shut down that I got turned back on. With thank you Elon Musk, at Elon Musk or whatever. But yeah, no, thanks for sticking it out with us. And for the next at least several weeks, we're still going to continue to do this Tom and Jerry's buffoonery or whatever until I finish my degree.
But if they think something's funny and it's not like something we have to do a deep dive on, let us know. We'll riff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Keep us posted on something that you want to talk about. We'll absolutely add it to the list. And we will, when we come back in full strength this fall, really, then we'll absolutely tackle those issues. But for now, we're just going to kind of be doing the weekly whoobies and the goofing off and telling you the funny stories. And leading you on that we're going to talk about how I fought the HOA and creating this app, which is an episode that we've been talking about forever. But let us know.
Do you feel in charge?
Do you feel in charge? Hop on the Discord and we will talk to you on there too. Otherwise, we will see you guys all next week.
I'm Joe Biden,
Later.
and I approve this message.